Telling you later.
Are we ready to go, gentlemen and gentlemen's?
Before we, I have a question for you. Do you remember the name of that spiritual thing in Ant-Man when he's like, what was it, Karabora or?
The Booga Hooga?
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga, is that it?
Was it
Baba Yaga, and because it reminded me of John Wick.
Yeah.
I remember because there's a blood hunter skin called Baba Yaga.
Also true.
Okay, well,
It should just be John Wick, the skin.
that's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna say Baba Yaga. If it's not Baba Yaga, then wow.
Should freaking John
It's
Wick.
either Baby Yaga or Baba Yaga.
It's
I think
Baba
It's
Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
A lot of A's.
I'll skip Baba Yaga then. Thank you.
Is that your nickname? What if I steal it? That'd be really.
I was thinking about
that'd be
that
so
too.
grimy. But there's also evidence of it, I would imagine.
I'll edit it. It's gone. I'll just
Right.
edit to the point where it just is still in my nickname. Hello, ladies
So
and
it is
gentlemen,
bad.
and welcome to the 199th episode, 199.99
Yeah.
episode of the GeekVerse podcast.
We don't mess around here.
I'm the,
Decimals, all that goodness.
I'm the card vanishing Trav Snail.
I'm the Baba Yaga Taylor Field.
Oh, he went quick. So
That was,
Ah.
I was expecting myself to go.
I'm the world's greatest grandma, Dylan Musk.
Boom.
I am White Gold Tyler Briggs.
Very nicely done. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've actually you probably couldn't guess by our nicknames because we all use spoiler nicknames, so that's great. But they don't ruin the movie. We are going to do our Ant-Man review. We start with the non-spoilers and then we get into the spoilers. A quick few plugs before we get to the main event of the evening. This Monday coming up is our 3-year anniversary. We're going to be taping that, so no more questions. The deadline's over, so we're going to be recording that very near. Unless you're watching us live right now, you get them in.
You
like,
have about an hour and a half.
you got about an hour and a half. We got some good questions between us and the fans. I think all the fans had sent them in. So yeah, checking that. Mondays are 3-year. They're always fun, just good, stupid conversations. Just what do you expect from us, you know? If you're watching this live, if you happen to watch later, we will be doing an After 9 cast. You don't know what this is because we've never done it. It's a live stream of us. It's an uncensored podcast talking about a bunch of random stuff. We're playing games. You will see it eventually at some point. If you're on Patreon, you will see it, but even the first After 9 is not released to the public. Those are like elusive ones. They will release at some point,
Yeah,
but
they're meant to be like a Patreon show.
yeah. So, but the YouTube one, if you watch it live, that can be your time to watch it live for free. After that, we got some Blade retros. They will be coming up soon. We're trying to organize that. We have one more newscast, and then 2 weeks is Comic-Con. We'll have at least 6 podcasts. I count them out. We got DC panels. We got Halloween. We got Predator. We got The Nun. We got Marvel TV, so we got lots of stuff. Our second annual superhero draft's happening, so that's a big one. The Hunka Hunka Boys will officially be back with contract negotiations.
They've been
with
gone
them.
for a while.
It's tough. It's tough to
We're
narrow
trying
down.
our best to keep them out of here, but they
Yeah.
always find a way.
It's tough to narrow down what they like and whatnot, but they have their audience. We got a Blade Retro, and yeah, so Comic-Con, that's the next big one. Subscribe for that, because we got tons of good stuff dropping, whether it's news or just good comic book goodness. But you know what's good comic book goodness? Is this review right here, or I hope it is, because Ant-Man and the Wasp has released Marvel's last film of the year, at least from the MCU side of things, at least from Feige. So, who wants to go first on Ant-Man and the Wasp, sequel to the popular, successful Ant-Man? We'll do non-spoilers. We'll let you know when we get into spoilers.
Boom, Taylor Field.
Non-spoilers. You know,
Shocked.
ideally.
A shocking change in the GeekVerse.
This movie, you know, just from the trailers and everything, I didn't know how I was going to feel with it. I was excited to see it, but I just felt like, you know, it's just going to be that, you know, calm movie following Infinity War. And that being said, it took me by surprise.
Oh.
I was pleasantly engaged throughout this experience, and it was just a thrilling adventure. And I don't know, I feel like many aspects, like with the heroes, were covered very good. I think, like, in terms of their development and their progression, it was very nice. And the way the story moved, even though it was just over the span of a short period of time, it didn't feel like there was too much happening. It felt like that there's just enough happening over the story, and it wasn't bombarding you with too much. It was very simple but exciting, and especially to the villain. I very much like how the villain was, especially after dealing with Thanos and everything. This villain, it wasn't like your just normal, conventional kind of supervillain out there, but it was just, you know, it wasn't like a point of view or like feeling like an entitlement or anything like that. It was just a basic, it came down to just a basic, I don't even know how to say that without spoiling it.
Treading on
Can you?
eggshells.
Well, it was like, what would you call that?
I don't really know what you're going for. I would love to help you out,
Yeah,
but
me
I'm not
too.
sure what the final point is.
It wasn't something that was a typical thing every villain tries to strive for. In that sense, it was something. It was just
Okay.
it was just a basic.
A simple personal quest that that didn't really necessarily involve any one they were trying to be against.
It was
but-
just to benefit themselves
Yeah.
in a very serious way that meant a lot to them. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I feel like someone that
I,
hasn't seen
as
this
someone
movie.
who's seen the movie, I know
Yeah,
exactly
that's what I was
what
gonna say. I
you're
feel like
talking
someone
about.
that hasn't seen the movie is like, what the fuck does they mean? You're like, they're not their typical villain. They're they're not a conventional villain, but they're not a simple villain.
Yeah. No, I
Not
just,
a convention.
when we get the spoilers, I'll lay it out clean for
Yeah,
you.
let
But
me go.
I think you probably could have stopped out of your first sentence by saying it's not a conventional villain. I think that sums up kind of perfectly for this villain. So
yeah, stop it right there.
well, it's too late.
Too late, man.
Good movie.
Are you done then?
Sure.
Yeah. You know what? I love this movie. Call me Marvel Shill. I was expecting it to be great because these trailers, I've liked them all. The first Ant-Man, if you've listened to our retros, you know, but if not, a quick one, is a movie that I thought was okay, and then every time I watched it, I liked it better and better. This is one that I watched, and I was like, I think this is a top 10 Marvel movie for me. I looked, it's not, it's just like, it's 11, it's like very close, but just the fact that I thought that right away after was surprising, because the first one, I did not. As a disclaimer, the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes of this movie, it's not that I didn't like it, but it wasn't really hitting for me. A lot of the dialogue wasn't hitting, some of the pacing, some of the humor. So I was actually quite worried for the half of the first act. I was like, this is actually feeling like my least favorite Marvel movie so far. So I was really worried for that, just because usually with humor, that always hits with me in a Marvel movie, even if it's not. The only time it hasn't was Doctor Strange. Other than that, every time villain might not work, plot might not work, but these jokes are funny, right? So the first Ant-Man, the first 20 minutes wasn't working for me. After that was great. The best thing about this is it's similar to a Guardians thing, is the relationship they have with the characters. These aren't spoilers, but Hope and her father, the way that Scott has a relationship with Hope, and then with Hank with his daughter, and there's other relationships that are spoilers I won't get into, him with his friends. They're all flushed out to a good enough point to me, some more than others, but the screen time we get with him and his friends to me is just enough, and it works. And then obviously things like with his daughter we get a bit more. Villain I think is a far surpasses Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket, because Yellow Jacket I think I maybe ranked him in our full on number 2 or 3 as one of the worst, because he is just carbon copy, cheesy comic book villain. And this villain is a very basic villain in the sense of their story isn't basic, but the screen time and their driving goal is very simple. But the thing is, it's the simplicity of her goal makes sense, and it is not just I need to destroy the world, or it's literally just not one sentence and we move along. I think if you were to compare her to the people who've gone recently, like a Vulture, a Killmonger, Thanos, she seems very lower tier. But I compare it to that first half of Marvel when we have people Robert Redford's character in Winter Soldier, stuff like that, or Malekith, or even for me, Mads Mikkelsen, who I want more. To me, for the amount of time she was in it, I got what was I looking for. Evangeline Lilly, I can never say the name, but I finally did there. She kills it as this. I love Paul Rudd, but I need this character. And after Avengers 4, once we get our new Avengers, she's phenomenal. I think she might be my favorite female character in the MCU. I'd have to really think about it, but I think between the first movie and this movie, she has such a good journey, whether that's her quest in this movie or with her father. Paul Rudd delivers as usual, and the biggest thing for me was the action. I found the action was far better in this movie. The first movie had a lot of nice set pieces where it's they're fighting in a suitcase, they're fighting with Thomas the Train. I felt the comedic action was really well, but in this just the action full and fight scenes, especially with Ghost, they had some really good, well choreographed scenes. So yeah, this just really knocked out of the park for me. I was expecting to be good, but not this good. And this is, like I said, almost a top 10 Marvel for me. And obviously there's much more stuff I want to get into, spoilers, but I think they just did a good job of fleshing out all the characters, the relationship, the humor worked for the most part, and it was a nice, simple, the world's not at stake. It's a quest that is important to these characters and these characters alone, and I like those unless it's the crossovers. I like those stories more of just, hey, this thing that they need to get, this MacGuffin, is important to their people. And shout out to Walton Goggins. I liked him in this movie, but he still should not be in these minor roles like this in Tomb Raider. He's such a good actor, and I hate that this is his role in the MCU. He's fine, but yeah,
That was something. As soon as I saw him in the first scene, I was like, why did no one pick him for the comic book?
I know.
Because
really
we didn't
fucked
know.
up.
Did we know he was gonna be in this movie?
Actually, we did. Yeah. I think they announced it last year at Comic-Con when they announced Michelle Pfeiffer. So we
I
did.
totally
But he
forgot
would have
about
been this year. He would have been primed for the taking.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, at this point, between Jared Leto getting cast there, you could probably still pick him, and he might end up in
It's
DC.
true.
So.
It's a wild world, all these comic book movies.
So yeah, great movie, and I would recommend it highly. I think if you like the first Ant-Man, you like this, but I like this far more than that. So I had an enjoyable time in the theaters.
You were afraid of this being your least favorite MCU movie?
For the first
Below
20
Dark World?
minutes. Okay, fair enough. Second, then. I'd say
Okay.
second. Just because...
Dark World's a new low.
yeah.
It's hard to. I would be like just astounded if anything can get lower than that in the MCU.
Yeah, in the MCU. Yeah, no.
I mean, DC easy, but I mean.
Oh, yeah. DC wishes they had a Dark World. Yeah, so great movie. Highly recommend it.
Right on. I'll take it away from here. While Dylan gathers his thoughts, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he has some gathered views.
I don't know.
Anyways, I really enjoyed this movie as well. It was just... I'm going to go pretty quickly here. Basically, soundtrack was great. Acting was great. Story was great. The heart was great. And it was a really nice, as you mentioned, like a really nice kind of, not necessarily calmer, but like take a step down from the entire world's ending.
Especially after Thanos.
Yeah, really great story. One thing I love about it didn't hit home quite as much as first Ant-Man, but one thing I loved to focus on of this one was the kind of family aspect and those interactions, which we don't. Was it James Cameron who pointed it out? Who was like biffing on all the superhero
that
movies?
they're just all the same. Yeah,
It's like all the
James
same. All
Cameron,
these like big egomaniacal superheroes with no families. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, Paul Rudd right here.
Mhm.
This man's got a family.
I feel like Marvel's been doing that a lot lately. Though.
Yeah, I know. And
Guardians,
it's great.
and what was the other film
And-
that they just did recently? I thought.
Yeah, what was it? It was something.
I thought we.
I mean, Infinity War kind of does that
Yeah.
bit, I guess.
I'd say
But
Age
I
of
think
Ultron.
this is like I'm not saying they haven't done it, but I'm just saying this one was like very like evidently that's what this was doing, and
Yeah.
it was, I
Thor,
love
yeah.
Paul Rudd's character Scott being so. I love how down to earth he is compared to literally everyone else because he has no superheroes inherently.
Yeah.
Which is
No
a
superheroes.
really cool. No superpowers there.
We know what he's talking
not
about.
a fan of slavery. Good for him.
I really enjoyed that aspect and how sort of innocent he was outside of the suit and like his little father-daughter moments he had.
Yeah.
I thought those were amazing. I loved like she didn't have a whole lot, but his daughter, she did a phenomenal job. Like just like her little moments with him and their back and forth. There's great chemistry there.
Kid actors nowadays, they're stepping up their game. You know, Stranger Things, Logan. You know, they know how to do it nowadays. You know, it's good. It.
I'd say for me the action scenes were kind of actually no action scenes were good, but a couple of the scenes I might get into a little bit later. But now this is all spoilers territory.
Is it about the? Is it a certain place they go that you had problems with?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So I'll get into it later when we can spoil some things. But overall, like I really liked the visuals of Ghost and whatnot. I thought that was really cool. I felt her combat scenes were a little lackluster because a lot of it was just her walking and
Very Michael Myers.
things going through her.
Yeah.
So that was a little lackluster, but overall, like the fight scenes and all the action set pieces and everything was really cool. Walter Goggins is great. I liked how.
Walter. Did you say Waltimer?
No, I said Walter.
That's a cool
You're
name.
just-
Related to
You're
Moses.
just-
That's
Yeah,
a
I'm
good.
just
memeing
That's a
on
good
his
grandfather
trying to find
name. The
things.
Waltimer.
But yeah, overall, really great film. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm still trying to formulate a number for me, so I'll be doing that throughout the rest of the cast.
Set the
And
strategies
figure it out. So this one's a tough one for me because there's a lot I absolutely loved. And also I want to agree with you with Evangeline Lilly, just absolutely phenomenal. I would 100% say that she is my favorite female in the MCU right now.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, that's one thing I didn't shout out in my reviews. I think there's a romance in this movie, but it's so nice and so subtle and it doesn't beat you over the head with the whole time. Like it's sprinkled in and it happens here and there, but it's not like this big bit like it's a Myers, but it's not like a big build up of like they love each other, they can't say other stuff. It's just like
It's just little moments the way they look at each other.
yeah, and just little lines they have, and they have great chemistry. So yeah, shut that out. That because in superhero movies, romance can be a little I don't know ham-fisted at times. So.
Fist.
But yeah, no, I thought that was really great. I liked her a lot, and her and Paul Rudd's chemistry just phenomenal.
phenomenal.
Paul Rudd's chemistry with everyone's just phenomenal. That's what I found.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a high charisma stat.
Very
Through the roof.
Not a lot of other stats. But
Wow. Really? That's a little sad.
he's actually pretty ripped, so maybe some strength.
He's very ripped.
The bathtub scene.
I think he's got some agility going on, you know? Maybe some
He's
luck.
not the best, but definitely luck and charisma are like his top tier stats.
I like that there's a non-spoiler person listening, and we're like that bathtub scene. I think there's probably some huge sex scene in this movie now.
There is.
Oh yeah.
Between
I'll spoil it for you right now. It's
Anna
just Paul Rudd takes off his shirt, and you get to see how ripped his like abs are.
It's a
like,
sex
oof.
scene between him and the viewer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Not
It's a
not.
mind game.
I still love that Marvel needs everyone to be in mega ripped shape, even though this character does not dictate for him to be in mega good
Well,
shape. But
he was all the training he went through with Hope.
2 years ago,
previous
though, now.
movie.
Yeah,
One
but
would
if you're-
assume
if
that
you're
he would
obviously,
stay
like-
in shape.
Yeah, because you're very
He was
obviously,
healthy.
without spoiling it, limited to what you can do when you're in your house for a long period of time.
Fair enough.
Obviously, you're gonna.
But I'm
do-
just
I
saying,
think
no,
that's like-
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like, Marvel dictates, like, hey, you gotta have an 8-pack because he didn't need a bathtub scene in this movie. You know, like.
But
I
we
think-
all appreciate it.
Oh, we do. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
we
it's a
do.
bad thing. Good job. It's just funny, you know.
They know their audience. I guess.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, as for myself, I have to thank Marvel for consistently putting out movies that I really enjoy because the last couple months have been super disappointing for me. And also this minute, you know,
And
water
windows
from
open,
me.
it's raining outside.
Yeah. I'm done, dude. I'm out.
For our listeners, Briggs was taking a drink and he spun to put it down and like
I
the
didn't
water
even
went.
I just put it over here.
Well, the laws of
I don't
gravity
even know how that
is working
happened.
against
It
Tyler.
felt like it was upright in my hand.
Well, it wasn't clearly.
Clearly.
Whatever. I don't really care. It's just water.
We'll look at the replay later.
Man, what was I saying? Yeah, it's been a very disappointing couple months. You know, Incredibles 2 is the most disappointing movie of my entire life.
That's
Things like Solo,
really
Jurassic
bad.
World, Tag. I don't know, not a
You
lot of
throw
great
Tag in
movies.
the disappointing thing? We never did a review for it, but I thought it was a nice
Well, that's like a
movie.
straight up comedy,
Yeah.
and this movie was a lot funnier than that. Had me
Fair
laughing a lot more, has like more memorable moments, and across all the characters. So I think this movie alone like outdoes that one in every single way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thank Marvel because like they're just consistently putting out movies that are enjoyable from start to finish, and I still think it's crazy how all of this is in the same universe. Like it really is like worthy of applaud. I think it's pretty crazy what they're doing. I like the first Ant-Man. Like seems like more than most people did. I love Paul Rudd, but I don't know. I really like the character. I like the powers, and I think the villain was the big problem with the first movie. But I think this movie is an excellent sequel because it takes all the great foundation from the first movie and just improves on like all of them, multiple times over. I think, like I mentioned, the villain was kind of weak in the first movie, and this one I like it because there is like your main, like Ghost obviously is your main like super villain where there's powers in a suit.
Your Whiplash.
But your Whiplash, exactly. But there's other forces of opposition in this movie, and the way they play off each other, and like they're kind of on the same team, but they're not really on the same team. It's a fun dynamic, and so I think Ghost is obviously a lot better than Yellow Jacket, kind of weaker than some villains we've seen recently, but I think it's all of them combined. When I first got out of the theater, I was kind of a little disappointed by the character, but the more I've thought about it and thinking about like the layers and how there's like multiple villains kind of going on.
Plus, when you
I
think
think
back
it's,
to all the other MCU villains, you're like, oh yeah, she's not too bad. Like
Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying
true.
to think about who I like. I like Enchantress more, but I think she's on that level of Enchantress, who's like cool character.
But
who
still,
we
I
just
look
got
at
to
it
know.
as like Marvel obviously knew they had a villain problem, and they've
Up
set
the
to
game.
make it better. And I don't know. I think this one works as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to see like a bit more. I think the powers and like the effects they had were pretty cool, but it seemed like almost like a starting point, and they could have gone like farther with it, and maybe make it made the character more creepy. I didn't think it was all that creepy when it I don't know, could have been fun. I'm sure maybe it wouldn't have fit the movie. I don't know why they didn't do it. Yeah, a lot of great action scenes. A lot of great action scenes in this movie. I love the the superpowers obviously that you're dealing with, and now we have Giant Man as well as Ant-Man, and it just makes for like some really unique set pieces and like as you said, like choreography in these fights that you don't really get to see anywhere else, and then it's coupled with really solid effects that make it all just like fit in perfectly. All the relationships that you have from the first movie, primarily Scott, Hank, and Hope, all like their dynamic was really fun in the first movie, and in this one I like how they pick up because obviously since the first Ant-Man Civil War has occurred, and so there's a lot that's changed in the universe.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really good job of like talking about that or going over what these characters have gone through since then in a way that like wasn't just all at once and seemed like, oh, let's just get it out of the way and move on to this movie. It was kind of something I feel like we're going on for like about an hour, you know, these kind of dynamics and changes and characters that have happened since then. So that was a lot of fun to see, and obviously all the dynamics between them is really on point. Like you mentioned, the romance, and then, I mean, Hank, it's fun because in the first movie he's like, you kind of get like glimmers of him being an asshole in the past, and we get a lot more of that in this movie.
Yeah,
and I love it. I think it really makes him like such an interesting character when he could be really boring.
That's why I'm surprised you scoff at me when I'm like, I want that prequel movie. You're like, don't you want to see him be the little, you know, dick, and the de-aging's so good? Like,
I think there's a lot of other movies I'd rather see than that.
Yeah, but when we get to the point when we
I
get a
think it's
Marvel
fine.
movie a month, you know?
I think it'd be cool. In Ant-Man 3, eventually we'll get it, you know, finish the trilogy. I'm sure maybe there's going to be like some more backstory in there, maybe a couple flashback scenes. I'd rather have that than like a full-on movie. As Briggs said, the music in the first Ant-Man is very lackluster. There
Very
isn't really
generic.
any memorable moment, and like the themes are just like very generic. It's not like amazing in this movie. It's not the best of the MCU, but it's certainly an improvement. And there's fun little songs that play, and like.
And Ghost had a different tune whenever she was on screen.
Yeah.
I like that. Like that was the most creepiest I got. But I like that it was. I like when villains have their own theme because it's like, okay, something's different.
Yeah.
You know. So.
And there's one particular scene as well that's I guess it's not really a spoiler, but I won't spoil it anyway. It's reference to Taylor's nickname, but there's like a little theme that plays in that scene, and it's just a beautiful little detail that they added that gives gives it more character. And then that little side group of Scott's ex-cons, the ex-con company, they all have like every character in this movie has like a moment or at least or more than one moment. So they took those characters, made them even more fun. You know, little callbacks to the first movie as well. I'm really satisfied with this movie. It's just had me laughing a lot, and it had the good action scenes, and it had good character development. So I don't really have anything to complain about.
Yeah, well, for me at least, Peyton Reed, he was supposed to direct Fantastic Four like a decade ago, and he's been talking about that now in the news, how like he'd still like to do it now with them getting this, and I kind of hope that happens, because like the whole dynamic they have with the family and everything like this, like when I watch this, I'm like, and I'm a person that's not a big Fantastic Four fan, I'm like, you kind of do something similar. Obviously, don't
Wait,
copy
sorry,
it.
He directed Fantastic
He
Four?
almost did it 10 years ago.
I thought you said he did and you want him to do it again. I'm like,
yeah. Fan Four stick, no. But like after seeing this movie, I would love him to stay on board and do something else. Same with James Gunn when he's like, oh, after Guardians 3, I might not do Guardians. It's still like, I still hope he does something else though as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I want to shout that out. And then I also want to shout a big shout out to Steve Ditko and his family, the co-creator of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange just passed away. We just found that out about 20 minutes ago. So big shout out to him because Doctor Strange is big, but Spider-Man is arguably the most popular superhero of all time. So it's a big loss for the community. So shout out to him and all the great work he did.
we love her.
Yeah. So now spoilers. 3, 2, 1.
Spoilers.
So yeah, if you've not seen the movie, come back. We'll get into it. Where do we want to start with spoilers?
Where do we want to start with spoilers?
Do you have a spot?
What's your spot? What's my spot? And then I was just gonna jump into the villains because they are the newest people we have so far.
I was just gonna straight up just.
You're gonna go to the end credit?
No. I was gonna cut
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's too wild. I'm just gonna hold back.
I was gonna just like get it out of the way, just jump to the point, like Stanley's cameo.
Okay.
Not in Infinity War, but it was thrown in this movie, and I think it was absolutely
Did
fantastic.
they say not in Infinity War?
Wasn't he? Didn't he not have a cameo? in
Yeah,
Infinity War?
you've seen the movie like what, 3 times?
Yeah, I said that he's not in Infinity War, but he's in.
No,
this
wasn't
one.
he on like a banner or
No,
something?
that
Or
was
the
in
other one?
Deadpool
Deadpool 2?
Deadpool 2. In Infinity War, he's the bus driver. And Peter, when he leaves the bus, he's like,
Yeah.
can't stop, blah, blah,
Why
blah.
did I think he was?
I'll shout that out.
Their first time seeing a spaceship or
Yeah.
something?
yeah.
Big positive for me is like all his cameos, I think since Black Panther, now have been all with dialogue, and I really like that because those 3 just give it more characters or characteristic. Like him just saying like, oh, the 60s are really giving it to me now. Like I just like that. It's a fun little line, you
It was
know.
fun.
Yeah, and that's why like I don't like Spider-Man: Homecoming when he's just like the neighbor and he looks out the window. It's like no, I want like just give him a line or 2. You know,
Yeah.
we don't have Steve Ditko, the guy who co-created, Spider-Man with Stan Lee, like he's an older guy. We don't have much time. Then like I'd like it to be some lines. So I liked the cameo. It was fun.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd put it on the ranking, but
Yeah.
This is an odd spot for me to jump to, but I mean, you pulled us there.
We've
so.
never started there, so it's cool.
Yeah, we've never
wild.
started there. So now where do
The
we
thing
want-
is, that doesn't really lead into anything, Taylor. So
Well,
now
it
you put
leads
us in a
to-
pickle.
We're right in the heart of the movie. We could lead to any direction we want.
I like. Let's go into the action pieces.
Okay.
Action.
Because the whole car chase scene
Mhm.
was it was very long, and
It
they
was.
kept finding new inventive ways
Yeah.
to keep the car chase exciting.
it's
And they
jumping from
mixed
character to
in
character.
sort of the car driving antics along with actual fight scenes and whatnot, which was really cool. I loved the ways basically each character sort of fought with the vehicles in a way, because you got Giant Man going around being giant,
On his
just like on his
skateboard.
little skateboard,
Yeah.
flicking guns,
That was
and
so
just like
good, yeah.
super comedic. And then you have Ghost doing like the really kind of not necessarily darker stuff, but like the more kind of
menacing? Maybe?
menacing, I guess you could say, like kind of phasing through cars and like punching people and like
Mhm.
crashing cars.
More
and stuff.
tactical because she would just
Yeah.
appear right and do something.
And then you've got Wasp thing where she's like going big, turning
She's the
into small,
fastest,
big and
yeah.
small, and
Yeah.
those are like super exciting, fast paced, kind of just like taking out everyone individually in the entire car. It's so cool.
And then you had Louise just doing like
Yeah.
Louise. We figured it out.
Going small and big.
Right.
Yeah.
Just driving.
Yeah, no, that seemed like it was long, but did not feel long. Like it was a big set piece, but it felt similar to, and this is like a positive, like Fast and the Furious, the way they're good at car action and chase scenes and things like that. The plot in those movies can be a little but that is always well done, and that's what this reminded me of, because I'm not a big car guy, so anytime movies characters get in a car, I'm kind of like, I could check out right now. But obviously they have superpowers, so they spice it up. But I liked everything we did. Obviously they showed in the trailer, but the stuff like the Hello Kitty thing was still worked and everything like
Yeah.
that.
So
It was good, and I obviously didn't see the trailer. I love like the Hot Wheels case and everything, like when Louise had that car.
The wheel, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a video game at times, so that was fun.
As someone who loved Hot Wheels as a kid, I really got some nostalgia vibes
Oh, yeah.
from them cruising around. And then when they take that like jump, or they're going like down the hill, and then like perspective wise, it's just like a massive jump.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
And the other scene for me I really liked was the initial when Hope goes to make the deal and then Ghost shows up. I really liked that fight scene. Then Paul gets in, or Scott gets in there and everything like that. But I liked that Ant-Man's fighting style. Like he has skills, but his is very just like kind of luck based, or just like just going. Like he just seems like. Wasp will find a way to get through the wall or get past the wall, where he just like runs through the wall. Like he doesn't, even though she does have an idea to run through the wall there. Like
She also has a lot more tools.
yeah, she does. That's true. But just her stance and just she's doing lots of like she does the classic leg scissors. But they do cool things where she'll catch herself with the wings. And I really like the fight scenes with Ghost. The only one I didn't love was the one where Paul Rudd was using her like being a distraction, because I felt Ghost could have took him out a lot sooner than she did. So that was the only time. But yeah, I loved all those fight scenes with Wasp specifically, like taking on the goons. They did some really great stuff there.
The
throwing all
kitchen,
those
the guy with like the potato mash or whatever it is, like chasing
Yeah.
around. And
The big salt.
The giant salt shaker is a classic. I have to say, you were talking about this when we were talking about the trailers like a few months ago. Is the suit? I didn't like her suit as much in the movie as like
Really?
from the trailers. I quite liked it, but I just thought it looked kind of weird sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I thought her suit looked much better than I saw in the trailers.
It didn't change at all for me. It was just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's a cool suit, and it's still a cool suit.
What didn't you like about this?
I think it just had some weird lighting on it.
Okay.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say, but I just felt a little strange to me.
To kind of piggyback on some of the things you guys said about like the choreography of
Koi.
Choreograph?
Oh my god.
We're on a roll,
There's an
ladies
R
and
there.
gentlemen.
There is an R.
You can do it.
Say Corey.
Oh,
It's like an
who's
apple
in the house?
core.
Tell me, who's in the house? Corey?
You know, like
Corey in the house?
you know Oreos,
Corey.
but like choreo.
choreographing.
There you go.
Boom!
Thank you, Dylan.
We did it.
You
I'm a
that.
speech coach.
You guys help me out
on the sides.
Nice.
So the fight scenes, how she implemented using her wings fighting Ghost, that was really, really cool. I love how they kind of took that kind of take, and as she'd be fighting and you see her wings pop out and slap Ghost and then go back into her suit.
Slapper.
Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I think Ghost is like you mentioned, kind of a weird character, because it doesn't really make sense sometimes. I feel like she could always just dodge every hit, but sometimes she would just get punched in the face.
Well, yeah.
But then she also like maybe doesn't really have full control of her powers.
The suit just helped her control, like not fully, but help to control it.
Yeah, and I guess as the movie's going on, she's losing control as well. So maybe that could explain some of it.
I still found that was sometimes a problem. The other problem I found sometimes was, why don't these characters just stay small? You know, when they're driving their truck and they do the, you know, they make the truck big and get rid of it. At some point, you'd be like, if you just stayed small, you'd probably just escape them. You know.
But they were faster when they were bigger, though.
I know, but if you're small and they just stop the car and
If you
back
just
up
go
a
into
little
a
bit,
sewer, like the
yeah,
first thing coming out.
you're good to go. That was the only time. There's a few little logic jumps I'd say that, like, okay, not world breaking, but a little like, okay, we need this scene to be an action scene. But yeah, and same thing with Ghost. There's times where when they escape, which one scene I really didn't like. The first time when they escaped, I like when Hank faked that he had the heart attack and everything like that, and the ants. And then they got out of their chairs, and then we just cut to them back to the lab, and we didn't even see them leave the room.
Exactly.
It was really jarring.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, are they just like, are they nearby in the lab, and those villains are gonna come? No, they just escaped. So
there was like 2 or 3 of those cuts I found throughout the movie that
There was
the
a
first
scene-
one was like the most, like the biggest one.
yeah,
And very jarring, and then there's like maybe 2 or 3. Again, I think it was when the Elias, what's his face, Fishburne, Lawrence Fishburne.
Bill Fletcher or Fisher?
Just call him Fishburne.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Everyone knows
When
who that is.
it was that one when he was like the last shot was him like cornered by all the ants and then just like cut, and then another one when he was in the lab, in Hank's lab, and then he got cornered by all the ants again, and then just cut again. And then I think there was one more, but
Of him, like,
the
in the
first
elevator.
one was like
The
the
elevator
most
one.
jarring. Yeah, and the second one's the elevator, then just cut to something else, and then the next time they
Bill
see him, he's
Foster.
like in some
No, he's
other
alive.
situation. And so there's a couple cuts like that from the action scenes that were, but I would even
Those
argue
didn't stand
that
out to me. I didn't.
those
really
weren't.
notice
I would
those.
say that those weren't really action scenes though. So
The only one for me was when they
Yeah.
escaped was a little jarring.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
we just got to, they were back at the lab. Cause it's just like they got taken to a place we have no idea. They're at Ghost's home presumably or somewhere. It's like we've not, and even then it's like, okay, Ghost got shot and some ants surrounded Lawrence Fishburne. It's like Ghost didn't even try to make an attempt to go get them. You know, it reminds me very much of Black Panther when they break Claw out and they shoot Black Panther with like a gun and then he just stops and they let Killmonger get away. It's like every other scene in this movie, you're chasing every motherfucker down, but this time you're like, okay, you go away this time. So it's just like there's a couple of those moments where okay, because the plot dictates, we gotta sit
it
back and
happens.
not do anything. So
On Ghost, I guess I can kind of cover it now, but as a villain, I really liked how it wasn't about, taking over the world, revenge, entitlement, anything like that. It was just, she was dying and she just wanted to live.
yeah, she didn't
a
even
little
go.
bit of revenge.
But not really in the sense, that's what I was going to say, because it wasn't, her plot was not to kill Janet to get back at Hank or to get Hank, right? It was, hey, I hate you, but I need you because you know where Janet is. If your wife dies in the process, that sucks, but this is what you did to me. I like that her main motivation was not, I gotta get back at Hank. It's just, hey, if I fuck him over, well, whatever, he fucked my dad over, but...
Well, I would say that more like she was just really afraid, and that being afraid was clouding her ability to think, like, rationally, like, what she would do. Because she just wanted to get, she wanted to get the technology to stay alive, and she didn't care what she had to do to achieve that, because of her past with S.H.I.E.L.D. and that sort of stuff. And that being said, like, she would have killed, people, and she would have killed, like, Hank, but it wasn't necessarily for the reasons of, like, revenge, or you killed my parents, or you're responsible for that, but, like...
Well, she obviously has, like, a very distorted viewpoint of the world. I mean, obviously we skip from seeing her as a child when she has this tragedy of losing both her parents, and we kind of skip to, like, her being an adult, so we don't really see, like, the progression there, but obviously she can't really have a normal life. Like, it seems like by the time we get to where she is in this movie, she's spending, like, all of her time that she's not out trying to stay alive in that, like, tube thing, just
and she's in
surviving.
pain constantly too.
Yeah.
That's the thing I like from the actress. I don't remember what episode. Well, I don't know the name of the episode. Hannah John Damon. She's from the Black Mirror, that gaming episode in season 3. It was when that guy goes in that virtual world. That's like his, like the girl he kind of meets.
Right.
And stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
She's
that's
in
what
another
she's
Black
from.
Mirror. So she's very talented. And I think it's the same thing. If she wasn't good, I wouldn't like Ghost. But I liked her actually when she was out of the suit. Her scenes with Lawrence Fishburne was really good. He's a talented actor. But
I really liked that dynamic.
yeah, and I like
made
you could
sense.
tell when she was out of the suit, she looked literally uncomfortable. Like when she had this conversation with Scott, she looked like she was in pain or something. Like she had a tick. Like really well done performance there.
She looked like she had a constant sense of anguish to her.
Yeah.
To like just her expression and the way she moved and stuff. It constantly felt like she is like just like very uncomfortable in pain and yeah.
And that, yeah, you bring up, because that's what I want to talk about next, was the relationship with Bill, because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool because Bill also has that backstory that once again ties back into Hank, and so I don't know, it makes sense. Like his motivations make sense, but I like that there's like he's somewhat aligned with Ghost, and they clearly have like had some sort of friendship over the years. That obviously at the end of the movie they're like hugging and they're like still friends and stuff like this. But there's like that level that he won't go over when Ghost is talking about how she's gonna go kidnap Scott's daughter as like leverage, and he's like, I'm not gonna cross that line. So I like that because
I like that she didn't do it either.
He felt that's a good point. But he felt very human, whereas she didn't. But I don't think she really would have felt human given like her history. That was one thing I said to you guys after the movie is I didn't really feel like she had personality, but I don't really think someone with a story like that would really have much of a personality.
No. She's kind of a female Winter Soldier. She was just training her like to kill, and that was I like that.
It's just a little weird because there's like I'm kind of curious a little bit more on her backstory. Like maybe they could have done a little bit more, but I don't know.
I think you may get it though. I feel like
that's cool. That's true. Yeah. I'm really glad that they didn't kill her off, because that's another thing with Marvel is they, even if it's like just an okay villain, they kill them off a lot of the time. It's I guess they haven't done that universally. Obviously, Red Skull was still kicking around, and
they did recently with Killmonger though, right? And then
Killmonger
and Enchantress
Mads is kind of like who knows?
They're kind of doing that new thing now. I feel where other than Killmonger and obviously Thanos, but now they're like leaving the door on, which I still appreciate. But I not only that they kept her alive, I like that they span away that I feel like she's gonna be an anti-hero partner with them in the next movie, and that's what
I was getting.
Yeah, to me they really like that, and to me I'm trying to think like I guess
but she won't be in Infinity War, right?
No, I don't think so. She probably got dusted. But like other than Loki, who like eventually became good, that took so many movies, and he was a much more like that wasn't like at the end of Avengers he's a good guy now, right? Like that was all these films were this. I don't think I'd have to think in the MCU a villain that, and I'd say she's more just an antagonist, but antagonist by the end of the movie you get the vibe that they're going to be a good guy, or now that she's healed she might use her power of these suits for good, right? And I love that relationship. And I love that I thought the two things, one, when he revealed he was with her, it's gonna be like, now he's gonna be classic like mustache twirly, like, I'm so bad, but he had a line. And two, with her, she is not human, but she still knew Bill's line because she respected or loved him. She didn't cross that line, so I can't go after his daughter. Who else could I go after? His friends. And even then, she doesn't hurt them. She just spies on them and gets information and leaves. Like she doesn't fuck them up or anything, and that's what I like.
I thought just kill people.
Yeah, and that's why I thought we were going down the road like, she's gonna kidnap the daughter, and I get it, and Bill's gonna be like, what if I created like the thing we've seen like 100 times in these movies, right? And they didn't do that, and that's why I really like even like it's not major twist, but just little unexpected turns or things where I'm like, I wish they would do this. It reminded me of Logan, where Logan was like, I wish they would do this, but they won't. But then they would do that in this movie, like, I hope she's not just full on evil, and she's not, nice surprise.
Well, one thing I'm really curious about, because obviously they left it open that she will maybe come back and help out, but the thing is she doesn't have any powers anymore.
Does the suit still have powers technically?
I wouldn't think so, but I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the comic book nerds have the answer to that.
I think my theory would be that when she's out of the suit, like, she still has that sort of quantum entanglement. It's just sort of Janet stabilized it.
Okay, they could do that.
And then when she goes in the suit, because it has some control over it, she's now able to still control it to a degree in the suit.
Yeah.
Maybe not as
Without
crazy as it was before, but she still able to use the suit to use the ability.
Yeah.
But when she's out of the suit, she has no ability.
I think one way or another, if we see her again, she'll have the powers, whether it's her or that suit.
She would have to, or else I don't think they'd bring her back.
Yeah.
No, unless she's just like a SHIELD agent now, because she was with SHIELD. But I do like that she was with shady Hydra SHIELD, Because
SHIELD, man.
I like that.
Keeps coming up.
Well, I like that she's like, they made me do a lot of bad stuff, and it fits with what we know, right? Because at one point they were run by Nazis, so they would probably have her do bad stuff.
That's a cool thing too. I like the whole idea of how SHIELD had so many different agents out there, like Captain Marvel, Captain America, and Ghost. It just makes me wonder, do all these
Winter Soldier technically.
Winter Soldier technically. It just makes me wonder, does
Coulson?
Steve Rogers, yeah. Does he actually know that there was Captain Marvel? Like, does Ghost know that
No.
they had like Captain Marvel in there, or does
No,
like,
no one knows about Captain Marvel. I don't think.
I
She's
guess.
just
I don't
like-
know,
Keep it on the hush hush.
Except
for-
Sam
unless you're
Jackson,
Nick
yeah.
Fury.
Yeah, he knows everything.
Too much.
I think it's so cool how there's so many different assets that Shield had their hands into, and it's just it's neat.
And what I did see here,
That's,
I just
thought
thought
on to, but
I just thought about this now. I don't know if they would do it, but in the more recent comics, way back, there's a team in the Civil War comics called Thunderbolts, and what they did was it's their Suicide Squad, it's villains, and they're working for Shield and everything like that. But in the newer comics, Bucky led them as Winter Soldiers, like not against his like judgment, like he was a normal person leading kind of villains that were like reformed. And people have always said because Bucky, maybe if Cap doesn't die, he could go on and do his own movie in Thunderbolts. I think she's a perfect person if they want to put together a team of villains that are trying to do good now. She to me, because her being in Ant-Man 3 I think could work, but at the same time I worry, are we getting too many people now? It didn't happen in this movie, but I just think
That's
with
fair,
in
yeah.
Ant-Man 3 we'll have to meet a new villain, right? So it's like, well now, if we have Bill and Ghost, that's a lot of characters on the good guys team, so that's why I could see them using these characters or her somewhere else, or hey, they've talked about that all-female Avengers movie at some point.
Yeah.
Throw her in there as like their Hawkeye or Black Widow. You know, every Avengers team needs a Shield agent somewhere. So I don't know if it's in Ant-Man 3, but I think we still and I hope we do because I think she could have. She reminds me very minorly of Bucky and Winter Soldier, of this person who's doing bad but really has no choice, and now they're going to try and reform. And she was kind of scary. So yeah.
Well, I think Marvel's really good at maneuvering characters throughout the different movies. Like you look at Black Widow going from Iron Man 2 to Captain America: Winter Soldier, just progressing.
Mhm.
Hawkeye starting with Thor and progressing through different movies. So I
Technically,
feel
you're right. On the
yeah. I would give it to you, but you are right. Yeah.
no, but I just think with
Should I take
Ghost, I think with Ghost
Yeah.
starting off in Ant-Man 2, they could easily maybe have her in some shape or form thrown into Ant-Man 3, but kind of throw her into another Marvel movie with a different character and just kind of progress along that track. They're very good at doing those transitions. So.
Yeah. So yeah, no, to me, good character. Like I think she's, if you have your A plus, which is like your Loki, Thanos, and Killmonger for me, and then there's like an A. I think she's like a B. A to me is like your egos, your
I think I put
your
her,
vultures.
I
stuff
put
like
her
that.
around like the Mads area.
No, exactly. Yeah. So, but I think she's in the middle to higher tier, not in the the Malekiths or
There's
the
a lot,
Whiplash.
and there's a lot boiling there in that cauldron at the bottom.
Well, let's talk about something we don't have right now outside of Sun. Let's talk about good old Sonny Birch. Only the video people get that. So Walton Goggins, I'm a huge fan. This guy's phenomenal. If you have not seen his work to where he's good, watch Shield. Specifically, watch Justified. He's phenomenal. And then Django and Hateful Eight. Phenomenal actor. This role is a good role. It's very enjoyable. It's very much. That's why I said Whiplash. This is very much Whiplash and Justin Hammer. Like Ghost and him is very much the same kind of context or concept. And I liked the scenes he was in. I liked the comedic scenes he was in. I just wish for an actor of his caliber that he was in a bigger villain role. He had that in Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider was not the greatest movie for him.
Yeah.
And then this is a character that we could maybe never see again. The same way Justin Hammer we never saw again, right? And that's a little disappointing. I liked the character, but I don't know.
There's not really enough substance to warrant bringing him back, unless they throw some more backstory on him that we don't know about in this
And
movie.
I can't take credit for this because someone pointed this out to me that I saw on Twitter. Like, I like this character, but at the same point, this is another reason why I wish Claw was kept alive, because this would have been like a perfect role for like a Claw. Or I almost would have preferred them just to bring back Justin Hammer. Like we already have a black market arms dealer in Claw and Justin Hammer. I don't think we needed a new character. I think those would have been great to have those people back. So I think Walton Goggins did good for what he had, and he was more the villain. But
and both those characters actually would have worked really well because they also have like that comedic undertone.
yeah. So yeah, I liked him a lot, but not much for him. Like I don't know, it's tough. Like he did good with what he had.
Yeah, I mean he delivers all his lines, and I don't know, he's like kind of intimidating. He's not too intimidating, but he's still, you get the vibe that's not really a guy you want to be messing around with.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's all right. I pretty much agree with what you have to say there, Travis. I would like to see a little bit more from him because I really like him in the other movies I've seen him in, bar Tomb Raider. So.
I like Tomb Raider.
And I don't know. I guess the other.
True Storm guy.
Yeah, I mean he has two main goons with him, but they don't really have any moments whatsoever. They're kind of
Yeah.
let
Just the
down.
truce room was like that big joke, and I
Yeah,
liked it. You know, it was alright.
it's good.
It did strong, I guess.
Yeah.
I would credit that more to being like a Louis joke though, as opposed to like that's a good moment for
Louis.
this character.
Yeah, it's more
Louis.
Louis.
Damn.
Yeah, one thing I really liked on the about the villains, you mentioned before with all the layers they had, non spoilers, but
Mhm.
I really liked how none of the villains themselves were necessarily like villains per se. They're all just people with conflicting motives.
Sure.
And they weren't necessarily a villain in the classical sense of trying to cause a whole lot of destruction or
Yeah.
fear or pain or whatever.
They just have one like simple goal in mind.
yeah, and I mean even Walter McGonagall's character was it
Walter
Seven-
McGoggins, did you call
Walter
him? I think you're
McGoggins.
changing his name every time you
I
say
think
it.
probably.
What was the first one,
MacGruber?
Dylan?
Walter Mackin.
Baltimore? That's what I think your British character's name should be.
Well,
Whatever his name
That's
is.
good. I like that.
I really like that all, and they had their own little personal reasons for doing what they were doing, but they never really had any like actual villainous motives. I guess he just wanted to make money.
Yeah.
She just wanted to stay alive, and then you have the Shield agent or whatever government agent dude that's watching over Scott.
Oh, Agent Wu. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's still an antagonist, but he's not a bad guy. Like I would,
Yeah.
I looked at him as a very like a good guy. Like he was just doing his job
Just
and
doing
he was
his
very,
job.
very comedic. He seemed like
Yeah.
a pretty good person.
Mhm.
And because especially when like you realize he was wrong or he thought when Scott had him fooled, he was like he wasn't like all like grumpy and evil about it. He was like, oh yeah, he's wrong. Dang.
Did you
Good
want to
job,
get dinner?
Scott. I'll get you later. But yeah, I really like those like all the different interactions they had and how they, especially how the what's his name?
Agent Wu.
No, the other guy.
Baltimore.
Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins.
Baltimore.
Walton Goggins' character. I liked how like he had the FBI agent who then connected to Wu, which had
Mhm.
tied them together.
I was a little disappointed because when he kept making that phone calls, I was like, "Oh, is this gonna be someone of note?" And then it was just the FBI. It made sense for the
Yeah.
movie, but you know.
Yeah, I really like that dynamic that they all had. That's like 4 different
Mhm.
teams sort of going against each other.
Yeah.
None of them are really bad.
It
They're
made
just-
for that like we talked about that car like chase scene because since there was like multiple people going on, you could have all of them like off on their own separate battle that all was like tied together by them driving around. So,
Yeah, and that's what I like. They all had stakes, and I think some people might say, like, especially after Infinity War, you like all the stakes are so low, but it's like, that's what I want in a
Yeah.
movie like this, and that's what I want in, like I said, non-crossover movies. I want, like, you look at, Sonny's goal is to get money, and not at any point does he go and get Scott's daughter and has a gun to her head like
Yeah,
Yellow Jacket.
even with the friends,
you know.
he just gives them the truth serum. He doesn't like threaten to kill them.
Yeah.
Or, like, leave them incapacitated. He just leaves.
Yeah.
Even though Ghost came in and ruined things, but
Yeah.
they just kind of left and let them alone. So I
Mhm.
thought that was pretty cool.
Taylor, anything to say on Sonny Birch?
I think he was funny. He definitely.
You
came
liked
off-
him, but not Justin Hammer. I do not
I
understand
don't need
that.
Justin Hammer to come back.
They're the same
He's
characters.
so annoying. Oh god, I hate him. Walks on the
Anthony.
stage doing his little stupid dance. Oh my god. Get out of here, Hammer.
Bring back
Get out
Justin
of here.
Hammer.
Jeez.
Come on.
Get out.
No,
He's
he's
gone.
in jail. He's
He's
in
in
jail.
jail.
Someone
now.
needs to save Ant-Man.
No.
That's true, I guess.
I think though that Sonny he was good. I enjoyed him. He was just in the movie enough to be a nuisance to affecting the whole situation, and I like that. He wasn't like overstepping in any way. And the scenes that he was portrayed in, especially when he was doing like the truth serum on Louise, he just felt like even though he was there for a comedic villainous relief, he was also portraying this, like you said, like this dominant, don't fuck with me. I'm here to get what I want. I have people lined up, which he stated multiple times. I'm gonna
I have a
promise
friend
this to
in the
these people.
FBI agent. Yeah, well, they never touched on who the people were though, so I always wonder if that's gonna get tied back because he just said that I'm working with very powerful people, so I was wondering if.
He probably is the kind of guy that just says that though.
True. I just wonder if Hydra is sneaking their way back into Phase 4. You know, like after Thanos. You know.
Maybe
like,
it's
yeah.
Baron Zemo.
yeah, or it's the Hand. No.
The Hand. That would be a crazy crossover.
What
Maybe
else?
it's Dr. Doom.
Throw up on there.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
know.
have the rights yet, so they can't say it.
Hey man, why not?
When you were talking about Wu, were you connecting him Were you just kind of transitioning, or were you connecting him into like the whole
I
realm
was
of
just
being
connecting
villains?
him in the whole villain area. But
Okay.
Are you wanting to transition? Because I think we're done with the villains. So now.
Well, I was gonna go over to Wu
Oh,
because he brought it up.
Yeah, you can. I was never
Yeah,
gonna throw in
by
a
all
Wu
means.
single, like a singularly, but.
I absolutely loved Wu. I feel like he's one of my favorite characters in this movie. I loved how just the shots, like when the guy runs in on, he's got the car.
Knock!
He's even got the website up on his computer, and just how he acts the whole time, like the
Do you want to
little.
go for dinner? Or?
You want to go
That
for
was
dinner?
so
And,
good.
like
Oh,
the little
oh,
girl
okay.
saying like, oh, like there's a lot of puke. He's like, how much puke is there? Like I've seen some stuff. Or when he's reading like the whole like documentation to like the Gracie.
He
like,
starts out like
oh.
it's like he's gonna be really simplifying it, and then he just goes in.
Yeah.
Really
But,
good
like,
kids.
I like it because people who haven't seen like a few of the previous like Marvel movies could watch this, and that just lays down the facts for you like within 30 seconds. Like, oh, well, okay, that makes sense. The Sokovia Accords, Captain America painted some walls that he shouldn't have in Germany.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's a nice reminder for people who like. I'm sure there's a lot of people who just watch these movies like once when they come out and just keep moving on to the next one.
Mhm.
So it's a good reminder for what happened a couple years ago.
Good way to use exposition without using exposition, really. So.
Yeah, through comedy.
With Wu, for me, I need a rewatch to know how I really settled on him. I laughed at a lot of stuff. There was a few jokes that didn't pan out with me. He reminds me of just like any other comedian where if you're at the club, like, oh, maybe 85% worked and some of the stuff, like when you're talking about the how much puke there was, didn't find that funny at all. I didn't really like, and that's why too, a lot of his stuff at the beginning, whatever his beginning stuff was with Scott, I wasn't really digging either. So for a while, I wasn't really into it. I love Randall Park. Ever since the interview happened, he is, I hope he blows up. He's such a phenomenal talent, but yeah, after...
He has such a great smile.
He does. He's just he has very good comedic timing, but as the movie progressed, I found his jokes more funny, and then I liked his magic bits. I liked the it's a very cliche plot point of doofus cop after a guy, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a fun little thing, and I just loved the next time I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna see you around. Like, what does that mean, see you around? Like, they had some good banter near the end, and I hope he's a character that returns. He's a comic book character, so. Yeah, I liked Special Agent Wu, so for the most part.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how he's like still, and like you were saying, he's still like one of the opposition in this movie because even though there's all this grand stuff going on, like still he's got to be in his house because he's under house arrest, and that's like a crucial part of this movie.
Twice,
and
yes.
he's like, I got 3 more days, and that's how long the movie takes place over. It's kind of just like a funny extra layer that they really didn't need to have. Like, he could have just easily been off house arrest by this point in time. They could have skipped right past that and mentioned that he had to do that or something.
You know why they did need it though? Because I think they showed a good moment of he sacrifices getting caught near the end to help Hope and Hank, right? Where instead of being selfish,
Sure, yeah.
but he's not that selfish of a character, but really he goes out there knowing, hey, I could spend 20 years in
It
prison.
makes
So-
him good.
And there's a
for
good
some
moment with
father,
him and his daughter.
Yeah.
How he initially he wanted to help, but he knew he couldn't because he wanted to be able to be there for his daughter and not in prison potentially. But then that their whole back and forth and whatnot.
And it gained their trust back too, which I like, because after Civil War, they wouldn't trust him. Like, he didn't tell them, he just left, he took their gear, and now they're criminals because of him. And that, we'll talk about that more later, but I really liked the hitting on them not being able to trust him quite a few times in the movie. I liked that line, so, yeah. Anything on Wu, Briggs? Or are you still going on Wu?
No.
No?
I enjoyed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Main characters now, your good guys and everything like that.
The good guys.
The good guys, yeah. I already talked about Wasp, but yeah, she was phenomenal. I like that she's very good comedically, but she doesn't come off as a comedic character, which I like, where sometimes that can happen to me with Black Widow and Scarlet Witch when they quip. I'll be like, you're just quipping because you're in a Marvel movie.
And it wouldn't really fit this movie because of the stakes of the situation.
Yeah. For this humor, to me, her humor is quippy at times, but there's just moments like when Paul Rudd is trying to jump and get the backpack when he's like the little kid, and she's like, oh yeah, how's that going for you? It's not even like a comedic smart line.
Yeah.
She's just kind of bitching him out or making fun of him, and I like that. And like I said, I like their back and forth. With Scott, like I said, I loved his arc with his daughter, but I loved the trusting of that happens, and then when he tells Louise about their location, again, they're just like, we trusted you. Mm-hmm. And I like that because in the first one we had just him as a single dad and an ex-con trying to make trying to make his life right. But with this one, to me, it was a simple arc of we've all been there where we've all made mistakes, we've all done something, we've all had a regret or we've done something without thinking, and that was his thing, right? Like he made this mistake. He went to Germany with Kat. That's what we call him on the team, is Kat.
Yeah.
Like he goes there, and then you can see that he's regret the whole time. I really love when he makes that phone call to Hank, and he's like really regretful, and he's trying. And it's just like we've all been there when you're like talking over yourself, and then he's so mad he just breaks the phone. Like it was to me a very minor arc of like the trust issues, but I really like what they did there. To me, that was the down, and that's what I like. He reminds me, and I think if they do get Deadpool, this is what Deadpool's gonna be, because he's, to me, reminds me like a PG-13 Deadpool right now, where his problems are all like emotional or they're all stuff to do with himself. You know, like there is to a point where Iron Man's dealing with like PTSD, but it's such a grandiose, huge issue where like this issue, being a single dad, having a job, having bills, you know, making mistakes, it's also something we can relate to, and I really enjoyed that, and yeah, loved Hank in this movie. I'm a big Michael Douglas fan. He's phenomenal, and I think he just is even better in this movie. And yeah, I'll say it till the chickens go home or however that thing, whatever.
That works.
I want that. I really want that prequel movie because I like the chemistry he had with Michelle Pfeiffer, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, that de-aging technology is nuts. Except
pretty crazy.
Lawrence Fishburne looked great too. Like yeah, but he's just a good foil for them both. I like that him and Hope were much more like lovey-dovey as far as a father and daughter, because the whole first movie was them butting heads the entire time, so clearly over 2 years they bonded, and I like that him and Scott still have like this like tension, you know?
Yeah, well, all of those, you know, your three main characters have a dynamic that has, you know, seriously developed over the course of these two movies, so yeah, you really can't complain. Like even, you know, the start of this movie to the end of the movie, you know, different dynamics between them. So yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, she is really strong. Like all the delivery of her lines always lands, and I love the, like we mentioned in the spoiler free, like the tension between her and Scott. It's obviously there's a lot of chemistry between them because a lot of it, like there's that one scene where they're just like sitting in the van, and Michael Douglas is in the backseat, like before they're driving off, and they're not even saying anything. They're just like looking at each other, and then he, you know, makes a comment or something, but all those little scenes work so well. Paul Rudd, I mean, you know, I love me some Paul Rudd, but once again in this movie, that he has a lot of layers, and I think he has more layers than he, like as an actor, I mean, he had more layers than he needed to in the first movie, just because of like how the story has evolved, and I think, you know, he delivered really well in that regard. I love the dynamic with his family. Obviously, his daughter's a lot of fun, but I also love like how the relationship between like with the stepfather, how he's always just like going in for the big hugs, and then I mean, I guess the wife doesn't really have any like particular moment that I can remember.
They're literally in two scenes in this movie, that beginning and then the end, and I want more of them, but I don't at the same time. Cause
I was completely fine with how they were used in this movie.
Feel better, buddy.
yeah, it's just you know, fun to see. I love that we get to see like the stir crazy Ant-Man, you know, with all the stuff he's doing in his house, setting up like that crazy elaborate plan, and then that Home Alone inspired like sled race through the house, into the, you know, just bouncing the ball around, learning all the magic tricks.
Such a good montage.
Yeah.
I've almost forgot what was in the montage, but that's when I started laughing the hardest. Like, he made those like the paper mache animals. What else did he do in that montage? He was playing
I feel like
drums.
there's a lot of stuff that you just look in the background.
Karaoke.
He's reading Fault in Our Stars.
Playing the drums.
Yeah, there's a couple. But
Karaoke, doing the bouncy ball off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's some good stuff.
obviously.
a lot of things. Working out,
Yeah, he's ripped. Yeah.
super
Taking
shredded.
baths.
Taking baths. And then, so as we mentioned, or I mentioned earlier with Hank, I love that we get like more development on kind of how much of an asshole he was, and like still kind of is, because he's never really apologetic, right? Like he's just doing his thing, and he thinks he's smarter than everyone, and he it's very hard for him to give anyone else credit, and it's a really interesting dynamic, and it makes sense. Like in this movie, you know, the things that happen help to justify why Hope felt like the way she felt about him at the start of the first movie. So it really like ties it all together and builds that character up and gives like, you know, even the, I'm sure like watching the first movie now, you know, there's like improvements. Like after Guardians 2 came out, I like Guardians 1 even more because it just built on like those same things. So.
Like when him and Bill are arguing, and then Bill tells him to do this thing that's right. He's like, "Oh, 20 years, that's the only thing he's ever done right," and blah blah blah. It's like, well, clearly this guy's probably pretty smart, but that's the only credit I'll give him. And
Yeah, and it's like it seems really important to him. Like his
Mm.
I mean, he obviously has like a pretty sizable ego,
Yeah.
but it's really well done. I like that we get to see him in the suit in the modern time, even if it's quick. And does he even put the helmet on? I can't remember.
That's for a little bit. Well, when he has to go and get Hope, remember at first.
Yeah, for a little bit, then he takes it off.
Right,
Yeah,
very briefly. And then I guess we haven't really talked about Janet yet, but you know, she's not in it a whole lot. I like that I like that the start of the movie is showing. I guess it's almost a complete retread of the scene from the first movie, but they kind of show a little bit more to it, I guess.
It's not a retread. The first scene
It's
of
like
the Ant-Man is about him getting kicked out from. Oh, you mean their mission? scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like the
I think I meant
flashback.
them at home. Like,
No.
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 Yeah, it's just that scene, but with Michelle Pfeiffer's voice added, because now it's like, oh, we cast Wasp now, so we can have her talk. So, yeah.
I guess before we talk about her, do you guys want to talk about those three main?
Not a whole lot to add on to what you really said. Mostly just like Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, and whoever plays Hank.
Michael Douglas.
Michael
Michael D.
Douglas. Great chemistry, and I love the fact that like between Evangeline Lilly and Paul Rudd, there's like this great chemistry, which normally makes you feel like everything flows really nicely. But then they intentionally had that tension too between them at times, and that felt really natural and really great. I love the one where Paul Rudd's like trying to still be helpful, and then Hank and Hope are like doing some stuff on the machines, getting the tunnel ready. And then he's like, okay, well, you know, like give me a call or something, or like I'll call you guys or something. And then Hope's just like, don't bother, we'll find you with the suit. And then he just like stands there for a second, kind of aloof, and then he realizes he's like, I gotta go. And like that moment there was like, it was a really good moment because like there's so much tension there, but they both had things to do, and Paul like his character had to go do something. He knew he had to do it, but there's still, it's great, it's good. It's good. I like it. And just like moments like that through the whole film.
Yeah.
It was just great. I like how Hank was an asshole again. And I love having that dynamic as like one of the good guys being such an asshole.
Yeah, and it's a nice touch because they'll never do it in these movies, but in the
Yeah.
comics, he's a huge drunk and he beats his wife, so they're not going to go that far. But I won't say he beats her, but he's hit her quite a few times. That was a big contention in the comics. Like, hey, Hank has some problems.
Slow it down.
And Hank also created Ultron, so yeah, he's done some questionable stuff in the comics. But I like that.
Yeah.
This is as far as we're probably gonna get. You know, it's like Iron Man with his like PTSD and being drunk. It's like they only go to like a certain point, and I get that. It's fine. I don't need to see Michael Douglas hit Michelle Pfeiffer in a Disney movie. You know.
No.
You know, DC. That's what you're there.
I
for.
do actually. So
Yeah.
next movie
It better happen. Yeah.
or Zero.
Zero.
I really enjoyed the trifecta here. I think that Hank Pym, his personality in this movie reminded me a lot of just Tony Stark without that snarky, like always know what to say kind of attitude.
So Tony Stark in like 20 years maybe. You know, when he's just old guy and he's just.
No, because I feel like Tony Stark will just be like that no matter what.
Yeah.
I feel like Hank Pym is just, he has that, but he isn't verbally like Tony Stark, but he has that attitude. When he talks, he's just very like, he says it in a calm, confident, cocky way, but not like some of the stuff that Tony Stark would
He doesn't
say.
have he's like Tony Stark without the charisma.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I still desperately want to see them in the scene together. I'm kind of disappointed that's not going to happen in Avengers 4, so. Just because he's always, like, remember in the first movie, he's always like, oh, Starks, you know, pieces of crap, you know.
But yeah, I think that he was really funny, you know, his humor just, everyone was good at displaying their certain amount of humor to a certain degree, but I feel like with each other, it emphasized it even more. And one of my favorite scenes is just when Paul Rudd was just like the preschooler size, and the teacher's like, "Where's your hall pass?" And he's just
and then he
starts going.
The Chucky ride.
Oh yeah, and then just when he gets into the van and they're just taking shots at him, like Hank Pym's like, "Oh, how's your day at school, kiddo?
Yeah.
Like, you want a juice box and a cheese string?" He's like, do you have those?" It was such great stuff. But I think Paul Rudd as Ant-Man again. He blows it out of the water.
Was
He's
it a cupboard?
fantastic.
No, it was a big drawer with clothes in it.
But I think, as you know, as far as Hope goes, I think I definitely would probably put her as definitely one of my favorite female superheroes right now.
Who do you like better and why then? That's what I know.
Well, I really
I could
like
make
her.
a case for Black Widow easily. You know.
Well,
Easily? I don't know if I could
That's
say
a
easily.
tough one.
I could make a case for Scarlet Witch after Infinity War. Before Infinity War, no chance in hell.
I like
We can
all
look for
that
a peek
world
at-
anymore.
I like all these other female superheroes, but at the same time, like, yes, they have different skill sets, but they all feel very much the same. At the same time, I like her because she feels like a totally different hero. Like, she has her own superhero costume with the mask and everything, and her own skill
True,
set.
yeah.
You look at Scarlet Witch and Black Widow; they got their own
Just
like,
leather.
They're just leather, and like
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch definitely has like the cool, like intense magic stuff. But like at the end of the day, like I feel very much like she's such a unique superhero, and hope just she has that feeling of like going back to like old school like superheroes. Just they're very signature with their suits and everything like that, and
Yeah.
their powers, and I like that.
Well, and I'd say, like, fortunately, they'll probably get them back, but unfortunately for the years, so many of their big female characters are all over in X-Men. You know, like your Storms, your Jean Greys, things like that, like Rogue, all these characters in Marvel that were huge females they couldn't play with at all. So maybe that'll change in the future, but all of them with cool costumes, you know.
Yeah. Though I
Real.
love the suits, but
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter. I very much though enjoyed like all three of them. They were fantastic. This is a movie I want to see it again in theaters. I'll probably take my dad to see it, or definitely get a steel case of this if I can.
It's Cinemia, you know. You can be
Cinemia.
seeing it, you know.
Well, it's a commitment.
Cinnamon.
But
Do you have
I
Oh,
Well,
okay.
yeah.
leading up to the Michelle Pfeiffer kind of moment though, like the whole thing with Hank going through the quantum zone. I absolutely loved how it felt Doctor Strange-esque, I guess. Like, just I feel like that was a whole nother like.
Looked like the Ramon
If Doctor Strange was alive, I feel like he could
Well,
play.
he was alive at that point.
At that point, yeah, but I feel like where in the post-credit scene, I feel like if Doctor Strange was alive at that point, he would play a huge role in getting Ant-Man, into play.
Yeah. I guess
But we'll get to
yeah.
that later though. But
Well, you can start off talk about Michelle Pfeiffer, and I guess we can tie all the quantum realm stuff. 'Cause that's all tied together, and she's the MacGuffin of this movie, the thing they have to get. So.
I think I loved how much she was in the movie, and obviously her abilities that she was able to learn from the quantum zone are kind of
You keep changing it.
what do you mean?
You said
Quantum
zone that
realm.
time. It's realm, and then you said something else.
I think
You
you
just
said zone.
you just have to put quantum in front of everything, right?
There you go.
But I really love her scavenger look she had going on. That was sick. I mean,
Yeah, when she walked it with that spear
the
thing.
spear
that was
with
way
the,
too
I
cool.
love the
Was it a spear?
hoods. Oh
It
yeah.
was one of her wings that she turned into a spear, I think.
Oh, I just thought it was still one of her wings attached to her, and she
I thought
lost
it
all
was
the other
a
wings.
I thought it
There's
was
only
a
one.
spear.
Yeah, I thought she had lost all the other wings, and that one
No.
was still protruding.
Well,
from
it
her.
looked like it was separate from her because she had the cloak over her.
But the reason I can't go with the spear thing is because she never pulls out and uses it as a spear. So I could be right about
never
Well,
has
it
to
looks
fight.
like a piece of something quantum made. It was all
Oh.
transparent and rainbow-esque. I feel
Yeah.
like it. But that being
her
said,
wings are like that too when they're flying out. Not they're always changing color.
true.
Maybe we'll find out.
No, I think we'll never know.
You know,
got
like,
busted.
I love the costumes, and I would be totally down to actually dress up as Ant-Man one day. But I mean that her scavenger costume looks so sick. I would
You
totally
can dress
be
up
down.
as her.
I know, and I definitely totally would. The mask with the hood, when she pulls the hood down, she's got the cloak, and you see the white hair. I'm not a fan of gray hair and white hair and stuff like that. It's one of my fears of getting old.
We'll all be back in a little bit. once we move on.
She totally just how smooth and flowing it looks. I'm not
It's a wig.
Is it really?
Yeah,
That's
that's
upsetting.
not her hair.
I'm not huge into Michelle Pfeiffer as you are. I think she's a great actress.
What?
What? But she totally rocks that wig. The flowing
Gorgeous.
white hair. It was just really good.
I'll say it was because you
It's
just
hard to follow up on
you just
that.
pissed all over Michelle Pfeiffer. She is,
Oh,
one
she's
that.
good. She's great.
She's good.
She-
She's
what-
great.
yeah, what are you gonna no,
Make up your mind.
She's phenomenal. I think she's one of the best actresses. As a long-time listeners know, she is the woman that made me like women. She's just a majestic unicorn. There's no one else like it. Like even at this age, her 60 and me being 25, I wouldn't care. I would be her boyfriend, love interest in a second. She got it. I wasn't disappointed by her screen time because this is kind of what I was expecting. Because she is, like I said, she's the MacGuffin. She is a plot device. She's their story. She is their stakes. And I like the stakes of, hey, these guys are trying to get their mom, their wife, their significant others mom back. You know, like it's a personal story, and that's what I like. Like Infinity War has personal stakes as well, but this is just a smaller. Hey, we're getting someone we care about back story. Or many great stories have been done like that, so that's what I liked it being in this realm because. I don't know when last time that happened in the MCU. I think most of the time, like in Thor Ragnarok, that happens with Odin, but then Odin's dead in 10 minutes.
Well,
it's like, oh, okay.
I think too is, I mean, it's kind of different the way the plot lines up. But if you think about Guardians in the first movie, at the end, they comment on like who Peter's father is. Like it's a big question mark. And in the second movie,
It's
I mean, they're not really going to find him. He kind of comes to find them. But I don't know. It's still like kind of a similar setup.
Yeah, true. So that's a good point. So for me, I wasn't disappointed with the screen time. To me, it just felt like she was a plot device for the story of, hey, we gotta find something important, and then in the third one, we'll get to know more about her and her journey and things like that. And I think that she was in the movie enough, but I like that they sprinkled her throughout the entire movie because she starts off the beginning and she looks identical. Like, she looks exactly like Michelle Pfeiffer did way back when, so that was scary and great to see. And then she has that moment, he has that moment in the quantum realm where he has that flashback of her and he sees her, and then they have that moment, the great moment when she takes over Paul Rudd's body.
That was amazing.
And then she's at the end, so it's like, even though she's not in the movie, she's kind of sprinkled throughout the whole thing. It's very much
You
like...
never forget about her.
Yeah, it's very much like Dylan's favorite movie, The Dark Knight Rises. Just watched that recently. Harvey Dent is dead, but throughout the movie, he's a reoccurring thing that pops up of like, hey, remember this guy? And that's what this was, you know? So it wasn't just like, we gotta find her, and they don't talk about her or really see anything from her until the very end. So, and I think she was good, but I can't say she was great because she did... I'll say the scene... I'll take that back. The scene she was great is when she reconnected with Wasp. I'm not gonna say Miss Lily's name. That scene was phenomenal. Them crying together, that felt like I was watching a genuine like mother and daughter together, and I thought they both nailed it. I thought her scenes with Michael Douglas were good too, but that one in particular was great. But I can't say the performance was great until I see the next one, and I have no doubt she'll do a great performance because she's Michelle Pfeiffer, she's white gold, and she is a goddess. So
Goddess.
I gotta say,
and the quantum realm stuff was cool. You know, I like it, but we saw in the first one, so it's kind of what I expected. So I like this little ship, and I hope Doctor Strange and them have a crossover soon.
that scene of them reconnecting, the whole time it like ominously showed the ship like all with like all red in the background, the outline, and you couldn't really see Hank Pym's like sitting in the ship still.
Oh, so you were worried?
And it like I didn't think it was they were gonna do it, but they kept showing it in the background, and like it went so long without Hank Pym just being there, even though it's like he's right there, but they just went so long without him.
Yeah, he's
actually
sat there
being
for
there.
a few like more seconds than would make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And the
Quantum
whole
realm's
time
like
was
the
like,
Flying Dutchman.
it's like, is he dead? Like, when's he coming? What's going
That
on?
What if they just
suck.
don't address it? He's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like Janet better anyway,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad they didn't trade off Janet for Hank.
No.
I'm
Because
glad.
that would have been the third. Well, I do worry the third movie will be trying to get Ant-Man. We'll talk about that in a second, but I really hope that's not it. But
I agree with you guys. The only thing I'll add is I like that they show that how smart she is and how her intelligence kind of rivals that of Hank, and it makes sense. It makes sense that they kind of have like they're kind of pushing each other back and forth. Obviously, you see that when it's her through the eyes of Paul Rudd, but then also kind of in like the post-credit scene how they're kind of both on equal terms, just doing science together, and they just know how each other think.
yeah,
It's
already
pretty cool.
science. Well, actually, no, that's 2 years later, right? So I forgot about that. So
2 years later.
Oh,
What do you mean?
wait, no, because no, never mind. It's only a few months later. Because I get it mixed up. Because Ant-Man technically takes place. Ant-Man Wasp takes place 2 years after the first Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought there was another jump, but there's not. Because there's still something.
Yeah, because the post-credit scene, me and Taylor were kind of discussing it after the movie. How long do you think that is? I was saying like less than a month after.
I think so. That's why I'm a little surprised they're already back at quantum stuff. But I know you're scientists, but at the same point, like maybe just take a trip to Hawaii and enjoy your wife being back.
Well, they
just a
did.
little
They
bit.
did quickly.
They did quickly.
I guess we don't know how long it was.
True.
That's just my prediction.
But it's pretty close to Infinity War because Infinity War takes place 2 years after Civil War, and this movie's 2 years after Civil War. They're pretty close, which that's my thing of I don't understand, which I guess we're probably in the post-credits scene here, is like I don't understand the entire movie where they didn't really make an excuse for Ant-Man not to be in Infinity War because the dust thing happens that took out Ant-Man. Not so it's like.
Well, I thought the reason was because he was in hiding and no one had access to him.
No, he's not in hiding though. He's on a house arrest. Like if if New York
Yeah.
was getting invaded by aliens, I still think the government would be like, I don't know, like, hey, like, get out there, giant man, you know, like.
But the aliens were there
Yeah.
just briefly though.
Yeah.
And then no one
But-
knew what was going on. The government
okay.
didn't know what was happening with Wakanda.
Okay,
Well,
but
actually-
here's my counter though. Cap goes and rounds up everyone to go to Wakanda. Why wouldn't you go? I guess they do say they're on house arrest. I guess they say they're in house arrest, but I still feel like in this world-ending equation, you go and get everybody. You know?
Yeah,
like,
but it came off as if Hawkeye and Paul Rudd, they didn't want
Well,
anything to
I
do
think
with
the
we
it.
didn't
reason
get
is
that
because
scene.
Nick Fury and co like tried their best to keep them in hiding. So I don't know, like maybe Cap like just didn't have a way to.
they're not in
find
hiding.
them.
They know in Infinity War they say they're out on house arrest because they're family. So they know that.
Maybe
They don't know
Cap
where his
didn't.
house is.
How they find him in the first Civil War. Like they just go like Paul Rudd just shows up in a van. You know, like it was fine, but it felt a little jarring because I thought the movie would explain why he'd be
Yeah.
gone, but it didn't. It just the dusting.
No,
still
you
happened.
are right. It doesn't really make sense that they wouldn't have found him.
Hmm.
I'll pose you the question that I posed Dylan last night. So now let's say this
For
dusting.
the listeners, Taylor's pointed at me for like a solid 2 minutes, so
Yes. So
He does this.
trying to force choke.
with
He never points directly. He points like kind of right above you.
I'll be right here.
So now with the dusting happening, and we obviously like know that in the next Avengers, like there's gonna be some time travel. Do you feel like them going back in time?
We don't know.
Well, we're assuming.
We're assuming.
That's a
There's
strong
a big,
out.
like,
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer threw a big hint there when she's like, careful of the time vortexes.
They're real tricky.
And the tardigrades.
Do you
True.
feel like
That's the villain.
so we're there? Let's say in the next Avengers they do the time jump, they go back. Now they change the course of everything. Does that mean they have to go and get Michelle Pfeiffer again, or they go back and she's gone? Like
that's a tricky thing with time travel movies.
You gotta be
One-
really precise.
It's the same thing as Deadpool 2, which, like, minor spoilers for Deadpool 2. There's something that happens in that movie and they fix an end credit scene. So people have been like, well, the movie of Deadpool 2 then shouldn't actually happen if that character is fixed because that's how they meet Cable, that's how blah, blah, blah. So it's like, with time travel, you kind of have to go with it, and some stuff, same thing as Days of Future Past, like, some stuff shifts, some stuff doesn't, whatever the writers want to keep.
Well, she would have been brought back and rescued within a fair amount of time of him applying each stone to the gauntlet. I'm assuming probably around the time he puts like the first or second stone on his gauntlet, like maybe the energy stone from Xandar when he gets that stone on there. I'm assuming that's probably the time she comes back, and then it's probably a couple weeks when as he puts the other stones on. So I feel like if they were to go back in time to around that part when he starts putting the stones in the gauntlet, then that is just enough time to remove her out of the equation of being rescued by Hank Pym.
Yeah, but you could also say that the people that get dusted might not be affected from time travel anymore because they don't exist, right? So it'd be like
True.
they are like whatever happened to them are there. So like yeah, I think if Tony Stark goes back to the Avengers, Wasp will still be lost, but it won't matter because she wasn't a part of the original Avengers movie, right? So she doesn't make a difference in the timeline yet. I think. Like I don't think they're gonna be going back to 30 years when it was OG Wasp. I think they'll go back to like when they start finding the stones and stuff like that. Like maybe they go back to Cap in World War I, but I don't think they need to the gatekeeper.
But I
for
just
any
feel
of it,
like if
so.
they go back to when he's the stones and such, that's still when she's not brought back yet.
Yeah, but she doesn't affect the movie at all. You know, like she doesn't affect their timeline, like with Thanos.
Oh, I know, but I'm not saying it like that timeline. I'm saying it affects hers. Like, how does she does she have to get brought back again?
That's what I mean. I think because she's dusted, she'll just the people that were dusted just come back automatically.
They just
in
come
the
back
real world.
automatically?
Yeah,
Or they
Okay.
don't come back, and that's part of the cost they have to pay.
yeah. They're coming back. Black Panther and Doctor Stranger.
So-
not dead.
Do
Yeah,
you
no,
feel then with Ant-Man, him being in the quantum zone, then he was spared the whole effect of?
Possibly.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think either
I-
the selection, or it was just because he was in the quantum zone?
I think
I
he
think
still
he was just
had.
part of this
I think he was still
top
up for the
50.
ballot of being
Yeah.
snapped out of existence.
I think it's a possible that he was not up for it. My more worries, I worry that he could use time vortexes to get out of there and stuff like that. But my worry is that he is not going to be in Avengers 4, and that's just their way of writing him off, that he's stuck in this place, and then
Really?
Ant-Man 3. Because the thing is, I don't know how they work it, but no one would know that he's there, right? They're not gonna. No one's gonna walk up to this
Well,
roof.
Ghost,
What?
because Ghost knows. what
Ghost
they're
is
up
not
to.
going to be in Avengers 4
No.
though. Like, so that's what I mean. Like, Bruce Banner, people that are left, they're not going to go up to this rooftop. And the other thing is, there's rumors now that the Avengers 4 is actually going to be taking place like 2 or 4 years after Infinity War. It's like a big like time jump for the character. So I think there's a good chance that if the Ant-Man 3 they get Scott back, but he's like fucking cuckoo or something like that. I don't know. Like I think there's a good chance he's not in Avengers 4 for some reason. And especially all the concept art that's leaking too, with like you see Hulk in his like purple costume.
No,
now.
I haven't seen that stuff.
I put in the group chat, but
Like,
like
read those spoiler nonsense.
it's concept art, and you see like Cap shaving his beard. All these people are in there, and true Ant-Man's
I
small.
don't want to know that Cap shaved his beard.
Shaves his beard. But like Ant-Man's not in any of this stuff, so I feel like.
No, they can't draw.
True, but everyone said that about everyone said that about Infinity War. Like, oh, he's in there somewhere, and he wasn't in the movie. So
You don't know that.
I mean, they released that Infinity War poster of literally just all Hawkeyes. He wasn't in the movie.
that wasn't a real poster.
Yeah, it was.
What?
I saw it. It was posted
Yeah.
by.
It was a fan.
It
page.
said Marvel on it.
Yes, you're pointing
So,
it to.
yeah. Now, do you feel... Actually, no, wrong question. How many Marvel movies
You didn't start the question.
How many Marvel movies now are coming out between...
Just Captain Marvel, which takes place in the 90s.
Just
so.
Captain Marvel. So, do you feel like they could somehow... Because I feel, as much as I hate that we won't... That you're probably right that Ant-Man won't be in the next Infinity War or next Avengers, and this was the way of writing him out. I feel, do you at some point... What the fuck am I even saying?
Do you see him before?
Do you think...
Because he's not gonna be in Captain Marvel.
You don't think they would do an after credits scene kind of like...
No, because I think
throwing that in,
Ant-Man is just like one step up from the Netflix Marvel, or I feel like this Adventure's so off the side where it's the same thing with like, okay, I know he has this stuff going on, but he is not interacting with these aliens at all. This stuff's going on, like he's leaving his house in house arrest, and it's like same thing. They kind of say it's Agent Wu is like connected with S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit. I think they said he was a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent or something like that. And it's the same point of, I feel like once all this stuff starts going down, Wakanda's and that, like you see Nick Fury and Maria Hill in that post-credit scene for Infinity War, they're driving around, everyone's like, even before the Destiny happens, they're all worried. So for Ant-Man's world, it's just this pocket thing of nothing's really going on. He's also in New York, so it's like, he's not that far. So it's like, it's very much like Daredevil. It's like, yeah, they're around, but he's kind of fine. So I don't think in Captain Marvel you get any Ant-Man stuff. I think that's just Ant-Man's Ant-Man. We may see. I think you're gonna see Scott's daughter in Avengers 4 because if they go in the future, she's a superhero in the comic books, and they laid that on fucking thick in this movie that she want to be a superhero. So
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Iron Man goes in the future and he sees Cassie running around as I can't remember her name. I can't remember her super name. It's all right.
Ant Girl.
She can get big too and everything, but no, I'll look
So-
it up.
Also, woman.
Then you told me that you think either they were saving it for the next Avengers, that whole scene of all of the superheroes together. That's the only scene they usually do in their Avengers movies. Now, do you feel like Ant-Man's going to be out of that, or do you feel like he'll be brought in at the end and they'll do that with all the heroes?
The only
'Cause I
way-
feel like they couldn't write off any heroes for the next Avengers.
They need all of them.
Stature was her superhero name, so yeah, pretty fucking lame.
Stature.
It's pretty fucking lame nickname.
so-
It's
What did
Stature.
you do?
I'm not surprised you
She
didn't
gets
remember
big.
that.
She's like
Chilling
five.
goes small.
I haven't read
Can she
it.
not go back small? So she just constantly
No,
grows?
she can get small, and she also known as Stinger. So I imagine she
Stinger!
can get big.
My man.
Because the only thing
Just
is,
because of Shocker.
the only one is I guess Doctor Strange could bring him back, but I just don't know if Doctor Strange, when he's really busy, is like, man, there's this guy who can shrink. Like, I need to go save him right now, right? Like, I think there can be that big Avengers shot, but I don't think you need Ant-Man for it. I think Ant-Man and Paul was great in Civil War, but he is also a character that he's so small time, he doesn't need to be in space. And I know that's the same thing with Spider-Man, but Captain go to space, Black Panther, like, I feel like he's still could be that Earthbound hero, so I don't think you need Paul Rudd in the next movie, because I think the next movie is really built upon seeing Cap. The next movie to me feels less. I think you'll still get that shot, but I think less that you're gonna get that shot of Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. I think you're gonna get a shot of the first time all the Avengers are back together, because there's a reason the only people that are left at the end of the same thing. Ant-Man, he's gone, right? The only people that are left at the end of Infinity War are all the OG Avenger members. So I think it's more of like a send off to them instead of the big hero shot now. I think you still may get that, but I think it's more gonna be, you may get like a new panorama one, but it's like, look how old they fucking are now, you know, like they look all damaged and whatnot. So I think I don't think you see Ant-Man in Avengers 4.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. I could be wrong, but
I feel like the time vortex mention is just too blatant to
Okay.
not be intentional.
I'll take. You don't see him out of that. You don't see him out of that quantum realm.
All right, so he does.
Why do you
Maybe he's
You
in the
could see him.
quantum
You could see him like
vibration.
maybe in the future or maybe in the past, but I don't think like he gets out of there and he's
Okay,
like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, I can see that.
My phone vibrated and Taylor was like, what is that? He looked at both sides of his hands.
He is a fucking
picked up his
android.
hand. Oh, not that side. Maybe it's on this side of my hand.
Planet Mother Earth is calling me. Yeah. But I
It's
was.
just such a like TV animated show.
But yeah, that's my Travis told you. I think we may see Ant-Man, but not at the quantum realm. It's either in the past or maybe in the future. I don't think he plays.
I think he's in there.
Yeah, we'll see. And especially because
I just wanted him to be there.
yeah, because the next movie is Guardians 3 that could take place wherever. Spider-Man apparently takes place right after Avengers 4, so I don't think Ant-Man's needed for any of these movies.
So all of sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say actually, yeah, it could make sense where Ant-Man uses the time vortexes to like go into the future or or the past, and then he runs into one of the other heroes also in that same timeline who also traveled to the future or past. There's like, what are you
Possibly.
doing here? What are you doing here?
Hey, you. Batman.
So all these superhero movies that are coming out like after the next Avengers.
Well, we only know 2 right now. The
You
rest
said,
are all
you
untitled.
said the Avengers is happening like 4 or 5 years
It's
after?
it's all rumored that there's a time jump. That's the rumor
Okay,
right now. That
so-
there's not time travel. There's rumors that there's time travel, but there's rumors that there's a time jump.
So
as
the
well,
rumors
so.
are that there's a time jump of like a few years. So that means
Yeah.
all these other superhero movies that come out are going to be happening a few years after as well. Obviously, the storyline may happen after the next Avengers.
Kind of has to be, right? Unless Spider-Man Far From Home is a prequel, so.
That's a lot of time, like 5 years in the MCU, like storyline.
Unless the thing is they go 4 years in the.
seems like a long time.
But it won't be if they go 5 years and then when they fix everything, it goes back to the 5 years earlier when everything's okay. Like, let's say it's them correcting, defeating Thanos, and they don't gotta jump 5 years because it's like, oh, well, those 5 years are good now because we saved everybody. It's like Days of Future Past, right? Like,
So-
oh, everyone's, instead of the world being a fucking apocalypse now, we go back to when all the X-Men were alive and Wolverine's just like, hey, I'm in the X-Mansion.
and then that's the normal story.
Yeah,
I would
that's
think
where
so.
the rest of the
Okay.
movies take place.
Because yeah, I think 5 years is a big jump to stay, and maybe even I think even 2 years, because that's 2 years of Aunt May with a dead Peter, you know, and that that's still tough to get over. So maybe that's your driving force in Far From Home. It's
Is
just
she
like,
confirmed alive?
yeah, she is. So maybe that's your driving force. Like, hey, don't go out there. You fucking got dusted by like. Nah.
Does Aunt May ever become a superhero?
She probably did at some point, but not a prominent
Stature.
Yeah, not stature stinger, the mayor. So. Anything else on Infinity War speculation or notes we have or anything
I
like
probably
that?
have
for this
something in my notes
movie?
here.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to shout out the Louis.
Louise.
I cannot remember that. Louise. I like that they had that callback scene where he's like retelling a story, and then it shows like the scenes and all the people talking in like really over the top caricature
Yeah.
kind of ways. Because he had a couple of those.
Voicing all them, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of those in the first movie, and I love that when he walked in the prison cell with Paul Rudd, he just had a full afro as well.
Yeah, Louise was. Yeah, I don't think he said, but he's great in this movie.
Every scene of his is enjoyable. He's
See,
awesome.
except for the first 15 minutes, I didn't like the whole my heart's beating fast and I can't stop it. Like, for some reason, that first 20 minutes for me, every joke didn't land. I'm hoping in the
That's
second
weird.
watch, but yeah, I was really worried. But yeah,
Maybe
Louise.
it's
Maybe
Maybe-
maybe second time after you know that the movie's good, you'll
Yeah,
like it more.
yeah, true.
Yeah, I want to mention actually what I really liked with it was specifically Louise scenes, but some of the comedic ones that you mentioned earlier. How the Baba Yaga scene too, how the music just all of a sudden got like really dark and spooky.
Yeah.
And I really like
Like
how they
Dracula's
had like those inserts there, and I thought it was really well done. And I know that was an issue that I have with Deadpool 2, where they just kind of like all of a sudden inserted a song because of the joke, the
Yeah.
dubstep one specifically.
Right.
But
Dubstep.
and they just kind of like insert all of a sudden, and then they cut all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And they did that with this one really well, I thought, because it wasn't as in your face, but it was a lot more subtle. But they still had it like where all of a sudden like it was Louise's story, and then the music was like super kind of like upbeat and like kind of janky a little bit and really funny.
And I feel like with that, I feel like with those, and even Wu's humor, I felt like that was different type of humor for the MCU. Because like,
Yeah.
Wu, like Wu is a comedic character, but I don't think there's much humor like him in the MCU. And same thing with those interludes and those intercuts. Like, those don't really happen, I can think of in, like, because I do feel like Ant-Man is their most comedic movie, right? Like, I feel like it's the closest to, like,
Yeah.
you could call this genre comedy first before all the other stuff. For most of them, it's like action comedy. This is,
Yeah.
like, I could see
Ragnarok, I
comedy.
guess, is your
Yeah, Ragnarok's probably
Guardians
the
to some
closest, yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
Thanks, here.
it was that super like cheesy old school kind of like comic book comedy sort
Yeah.
of stuff that I really enjoyed that. I thought they did a great job with it.
I like the other Louise joke. Did I say that right? This
Yeah,
time?
Louise.
When they're all of them are Paul Rudd's like, okay, I know a place that we can go. And they're like, no. But then they end up going to the XCOM, like their little office there. He's like, why didn't you have a tracking device in the apartment? Like, why wouldn't you think of that? You know, we have a wide selection here you can choose from.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
And once again, I like that he like actually has a like meaningful role. You know, like him and his two dudes, like they actually are integral to solving these problems that they have.
They're Scots Revengers.
They're Scots Revengers.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me bruise through my cruise
Bruise.
or
Browse?
braise. No,
Browse?
browse.
Browsers.
That's I think I was in between browse and cruise.
How do you spell that, Travis?
BRAZZER. Yes. I know the memes.
I was super disappointed that the second post-credit scene was just a scene from the trailer. Really weird. They've never done that before, as far as I remember.
Yeah, as far as I know, and I also
The ant drumming.
Oh yeah.
I also don't need it. I don't know.
That's not like I don't like normally if I would go to see a Marvel movie again in theaters, I always stay and watch the post-credit scenes again. I would definitely not stay for this one.
Well, and I like the Grandmaster, but even Thor Ragnarok, his one as well, when he got on the ship and he's like, whoa, like the revolution happened. Like I feel like Infinity War had 2, right? Or did it just have the 1? Did it just have Captain Marvel? I feel like it just had Captain Marvel, right? Yeah, and I feel like, you know what? It's not bad sometimes just to have one post-credit scene, and that Ant one to me,
that's true.
Starts to piss me off a little because I'm like, I sat here for all this time, and I'm fine.
Because they have a lot of people in those credits, man. There's like 5 million people that work on these movies.
And I'm even fine if I sit there and there's nothing, but when I sit there and there's just like this kind of meh scene, and especially a scene that we saw already, then alright, like at least do something clever, I guess, like they did with Spider-Man Homecoming and like Captain America, right? When he sat there, he's like, patience, like we all need it, and like he's like, so what are you waiting for? Like do something clever where that was like, okay, and it's playing drums, okay.
Well, as Taylor mentioned, there at least was that kind of like that sound of the emergency broadcast signal.
Yeah.
I don't know why you
Is
guys
that a joke?
Yeah, I don't know.
That can't be real.
That doesn't make it any better to
Yeah, but
me.
we know that's post,
I didn't need to know when the fucking ant was playing drums because I don't care.
I know.
There's
but
another. There's
it's
one
good.
con I could throw it that when he lost Anthony in the first movie, they made it really dramatic. There's that one scene of the seagulls just taking all those scenes, and he's completely gone over his attachment to the ants now.
He loses a lot of them.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like that. Even though it was comedic, I didn't laugh because if they didn't do that first movie, fine. But they made such a big deal about him and this ant and like having a bond, and when he lost it, they paused for a moment and let that sink in.
Yeah.
In this movie, it was literally
true.
just joke after joke. I was like, okay, so what do you want us? Do you want us to care about the ants, or do you not want us to care about the ants? I won't care about the ants if you don't want that, but then pick a side.
I think it was just his closest attachment was his first with Anthony, and
your first is all
he very much obviously cared about.
Oh, hi, Kirk. We're talking about all the Ant-Man spoilers.
I honestly loved when he finally got that one ant, and I was waiting for the name because I love it when Antonio Banderas. That was so good, but.
See, I personally liked Ulysses S. Grant.
Yeah. They were clever with that. They did a good job.
Anything else? Final thoughts?
I liked the tiny drive-in they had with all the great Hot Wheels in front of the laptop.
Yep.
And I loved the credits before it went to the black and white credits, like that kind of like diorama sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
And they're highlighting all the different scenes from the movie.
And they're in like action figures almost.
Yeah. I was because they've been doing that now. Like I think it was Black Panther.
Black Panther was sick with the vibrate. They were all vibranium and they all had different color and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
Infinity
Guardians
War.
obviously has like a really colorful and fun.
And Infinity War, they were just all like it was just black and they're all like dusty.
Right.
Right. So good job, Marvel.
Good job, Marvel.
To answer the previous topic about them having a post-credit scene from a scene taken from the movie, which movie was it that had Captain America punch the punching bag in the movie in Avengers?
Captain America.
Yeah, well, that was the post-credit scene in Captain America?
Yeah.
And then they threw that in the Avengers too, right? Because I remember it being in the main movie as well.
Yeah, it was because it was that, and then it was the Avengers trailer, and then that was in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess it was from a trailer, so it's not like offensively bad. I guess if you haven't seen the trailers, it'd be kind of like a funny little thing to see. But I don't know, not for me.
No.
Not for me.
I didn't mind it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't.
They had that.
That's fine with me.
They had that frequency beam.
Yeah, mind blowing stuff.
Final thoughts?
That's all my stuff, so let's get into it.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say. I kind of, in the opening statements and all the stuff I said before, but the cast delivers. Evangeline Lilly is a standout for me. All the relationships in the movie are hit very well, whether it's a romance, whether it's a father-daughter, mother-daughter. They explore some really cool stuff in here. Fun, unique twist on the villain. Subtle romance, very well done romance.
Mm-hmm.
Humor is, for me, mostly knocked set out of the park. And action was phenomenal. I think they really stepped it up, and I cannot wait to see a third one, and I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Yeah, my only cons would be that 15 minutes, 15 to 20. Maybe when I watch it again, I'll see how I feel, but that didn't really hit for me. Some of Wu's stuff was a little, like I said, there's a few jokes that I didn't like, and if you didn't like Wu's jokes, you're kind of stuck because they would beat it to death, which it was good if you liked it, but if you didn't like that throwing up one, you sit there for about 2 minutes of like, okay, we're going to talk about vomit, okay, I get it. And then, like I said, there were probably some logic inconsistencies of maybe ghost fighting, but sometimes for me, of like, why don't you just stay small? There's a couple things where it's like, okay, we're doing this because the plot needs us to do, so it takes me out of it a little bit, where lots of Marvel movies don't. So, but still, 9 out of 10. Solid movie. Marvel. I don't know. I'd have to look. This might be. I don't know if it's their best year, because one year they had Winter Soldier and Guardians come at the same time, but like. Black Panther.
Pretty good year, yeah.
Yeah, Black Panther, Infinity War, and this don't get more solid of like a triple threat right there. So yeah, 9 out of 10. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought, and I can't wait to see more of these characters. And yeah, great movie, fantastic.
For me, thoroughly enjoyable from start to finish. Funniest movie I've seen in a while. Takes all the stuff from the first movie and just develops it even further. I'm sure we'll see quite a lot of stuff from this movie end up in the Golden Geeks for this year between characters and scenes. So, yeah, overall, like just another solid movie by Marvel. How do they keep doing it? I don't know. It's magic. It's actually pretty unheard of how
it is.
How consistent this is.
This is the 20th movie.
It's one of its kind. For sure. So.
You're up.
I don't do numbers.
Except if the next movie you said you might give it a 0 out of 10.
I'll do 0 out of 10. So I throw a lot of zeros out.
This movie definitely, it delivered for me. Ant-Man 1 is a movie that I really regret not getting it when it first came on DVD, because I feel like it's risen in price. It's that when these movies come out, these Marvel movies come out, usually like the DVDs and the Blu-ray bundles are like $18 to $20. Now if I walk into Walmart or Best Buy, they're $30. Flat $30, and
they gotta pay Feige to keep them. They don't want to go over Star Wars now.
Ant-Man has been out for quite a fair amount of time now. It's still $30, and I feel like it's getting the Pixar treatment, where Pixar movies are still freaking expensive. And
Pixar used to mean something. It used to be cool.
They keep it high, so when the Disney streaming service rolls out, you buy it.
Yeah.
You stick to it.
You're right. $30 on Amazon.ca.
Yeah. I really want to buy Ant-Man 1, and I mean,
there's just a pure DVD copy for $81 if you'd like that.
A pure DVD, like no case.
No, it's a case, just no Blu-ray DVD.
I like the Blu-ray DVD digital copy.
VHS.
Couldn't find that.
But I gotta wait for Boxing Day, Black Friday.
That's why you should buy Black Panther quick, because that's $17.99. So you're right, maybe they do start to go up.
They do. It's crazy, but this is a movie that I'm definitely gonna get right away. I mean, these movies are great. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was just fantastic. Everything it delivered with the characters and the villain. Just the story was so much fun, and just an exciting journey just to experience. And it was the right thing, like Infinity War was just this top note. And it's like you just go through this bad relationship that just it ends, and it's just like, oh my god, like just you can't handle what happened, but then you have this nice little rebound that just.
This is the fresh one night stand. He's pulling a Travis.
Batman's the rebound.
Yeah, he's the one night stand. You're talking about Halloween costumes. You can get a legit one for $240, or just an adult man for pretty much $60. So.
Is that on Amazon still?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
I can get an adult man for
Janet Van Dyne?
$60.
Yeah, $69 for the adult man. Going once, or you can get the child costume for Yellow
I
Jacket.
have to shrink down. And get
the blue sweater.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good easy costume, man.
Leggings.
But no, I think this movie is easily a 9 out of 10 for me.
Oh.
I really, really enjoyed this movie, and I think I'm definitely gonna see it again in theaters. It was just so funny.
What did you get? What did you give Black Panther?
Black Panther?
4.
Whoa.
No.
Whoa.
It's like I said with the Black Panther review. Check it out for more details. But
No, I just want your number.
my number. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Okay. Just because I was gonna say those were you gave Infinity a 10. I think Marvel's the only time we're close on our scales.
I
as
think
far as
so.
reviews.
Like for Black Panther, like I liked it, but it wasn't
it's
tailored
not
to
your
me.
superhero movie.
Yeah.
Tailored to you. That's gonna be a sure one, Danny. Well, what's tailored to you?
That was good.
You look so uncomfortable.
I thought that was really snappy. You know, really on his feet on that one.
All right.
3 years, motherfuckers.
Overall, really fun movie. A lot of really good comedy. There are a couple weak points, I guess, for me. Maybe I feel like Ghost could have been a little better, but not to the point where it's disappointing. But it was good enough.
A little more salt.
There's a couple good enough things, I guess, would be a better way of saying it. And as far as as far as Marvel movies go, it's a little bit disappointing, but not too
Whoa.
bad.
Sounds like a
for
great
Marvel,
name.
it's like
Final Fantasy.
You hate this.
No.
A faltering 3 from you? Is that
Whoa.
Faltering. A dusting 3.
not quite.
I don't feel so good 3.
Oh, Jesus.
Spoiler.
I gotta do that one time. It's a really bad movie. We don't watch a lot of really bad movies.
What?
Like what?
We don't watch. This is
Molten
an English
Goggins.
podcast.
English podcast.
A lot of really bad movies. Here I find. So I find scores are generally skewed towards being good movies because we watch good movies. Anyways,
I don't know,
no, there are some
Rampage.
bad movies, but like
Did you see Solo or is that just me?
just you.
Okay.
You want the solo review, right?
Hey.
Okay, so what's your score?
Yeah, so I really like this movie. Then I just want to like I feel like just the
No.
core cast, Evangeline Lilly, Paul Rudd, just like absolutely amazing. I love those characters. I really hope we see them a lot more.
Well, she's dead now, so you're not.
Well, yes. I hope we see them a lot more. Easily some of my favorite MCU characters. I think for me though, the score's a little bit lower than I think, but this is just like a thing with me in comedy movies. I feel like I can't rate them as high.
Mm.
But for as far as comedies go, it's still pretty high. I would say maybe I don't know. Anyways, to get to the store, I'm gonna give
round
this the score. I'm gonna give this a ant-sized 8.
Okay, not bad.
So it's still pretty good. Oh, actually, still really good. It's still a great movie.
8 out of 10.
Still
I
beat
wasn't
It's a great
expecting
movie.
that at all from where the direction you're going.
Yeah, no, I wasn't either.
No,
but
I was thinking.
I didn't.
Wild, bro.
I didn't expect the direction I went from having an 8. to
Did you
10.
decide that 8 in the second, or was you?
No,
was
no,
it
I had
developing
that at the
over
very. I had that 8 solidified.
half an hour ago.
Probably about 10 minutes ago or so, and then so I knew it was gonna be an 8 when I went into that whole roundabout thing. I don't know how I got to where I went, but
Yeah, see.
It's not about the
Journey.
It's about
No.
the.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
anyways, yeah, really good film still. I mean, Marvel, you're kicking ass and
Yep.
you're taking names.
Captain
Just say
Marvel's
that.
next,
Yeah.
and then
Ooh, wow.
Captain Marvel, and then Avengers
That's gonna
4.
be
So
fun.
we're only one movie away from that big old climactic finale. So.
Is that it's next May again? Is it? Is that the plan?
Yeah, and then
What if they
Captain
actually
Marvel's.
lose in Infinity War?
Oh, it's gonna make an interesting.
Could happen.
And
Avengers
then
5.
that's the end of the MCU. They're just like jokes.
No,
and
it's the
we
Thanos
ended it.
verse.
I think they're filming Spider-Man Far From Home right now.
That's,
So I think
what if that's a working title of Thanos too?
Everything they do
Just-
from now on is just prequels, and like Thanos actually wins at the end.
Yeah.
That's an
Oh.
interesting idea.
I'd be pretty mad at Feige.
Well, you get your Ant-Man Wasp prequel, so there you go.
Fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
can't argue with that.
What
You
else?
got him cornered, Taylor.
What else? Where can they find all our other corners, Taylor?
If you haven't dusted away, you can find us in the internets, in the search bar.
In the internet.
You can totally skip
The
the,
corners
Google
of the
step
internet.
in the corners. You can skip the Google step, go right into Facebook now, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen. This
Yahoo.
is a huge breakthrough in technology. In Facebook, on the search bar, you're typing GeekVerse Space Podcast. It is unprecedented. You're going to find our page, cover photo, profile picture, and you're going to scroll down. You're going to find amazing stuff. I'm going to shout out now the winner of our fan-based voted MCU poll is Thor. Thor managed to sweep it up and defeat Loki in the last round.
No,
Thor
he
is
didn't
champion.
sweep.
He
would be
outbeat
if
him
Loki,
by 2.
Yeah, if Loki got 0 votes, that would be a sweep.
It would
but
be a sweep, yeah.
he didn't
Would it be a
sweep.
sweep if you got 1 vote?
No, because the
No.
sweep is 0.
I was out of town for all of those, so I missed the full final story.
Yeah. No, Thor
I
is our
didn't actually
first
vote
champion.
on the finals.
Really?
I vote for
I
Loki.
forgot to.
There was a lot of votes on there, so shout outs to the fans. Thank you.
Yeah, huge shouts to the fans.
Taylor-
about the Loki Thanos I didn't vote on.
Taylor, you gonna be cooking up another one in the
Yeah.
future?
I don't know how soon. Whenever I get a chance to edit, we do have a Star Wars one probably. Wink, wink, coming.
Everyone vote for Shmi.
Shmi.
Yeah.
She's gonna be a
I want
top
to see a Jar Jar Smee.
That's how I said Shmi in the
Finals.
first round. Jar Jar. Oh,
Jar
finals.
Jar versus-
That's what I want in the
finals.
finals. Jar Jar and Shmi.
We'll save that.
Make it
That'll be
happen.
juicy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, tune in next Monday. It will be our 3-year anniversary. That should be a fun one. And then after that, we'll have a newscast. And then after that, will be Comic Con. So we got lots of good stuff coming your way. Go down below. That's where you can find all links. YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook, Twitter, iTunes. Subscribe, rate, review. Head over to Patreon if you like this. Pay and you get some good, glorious, geeky stuff earlier. See you for the 3-year. We promise you will not be boring.
Cut the check, Feige.
Cut the check, Foggy.
Later, nerds.